Hello, and welcome back to Pickaxe Week, where I'm Ben, and I'm joined by the guys from the Of Mechs and Men, a Battletech podcast. How you doing, guys?
We're doing good.
Great.
Well,
So why don't you introduce yourselves? Tell me who you are and what this is all about.
You want to start, Kanan, or you want me to
Okay.
go? Let's see.
let's go. So, I am Kanan Hill. These are my friends, Brent and Aaron, and we do a Battletech book club podcast. Of Mechs and Men, a Battletech book club, where every week we talk about a selection of chapters from the novel. We are going in chronological order of the lore. We are starting at the very first novel. We're now on the the eighth novel. We usually do guys, 3, 4, 5 chapters at a time.
Yeah.
About like hour and a half long episodes. And it's just this book club podcast. And so for the past several years now, we just talk about Battletech. I feel like I've accidentally become some kind of Battletech lore expert.
Yeah.
Just by virtue
That doesn't happen to anyone on purpose.
reading all these books.
Pretty sure.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, well, people have started looking, people are like, oh, this is a lore question. Let's ask Kanan. And I'm like, whoa, well, hold on, guys. I never said I just read them.
I'm not that guy. Hang on, am I? Am I that guy? Oh my god.
Right? That's what I mean. Is like, I had a moment where I was like, am I that guy now?
He's got excellent
I,
recall too, which doesn't it increases the amount of questions he gets because he'll just be like, "Oh yes, that was I think on page 30 of Warrior on Guard." It's amazing.
Oh man, so this like time and day is normally when Tom and I talk about Warhammer and Warhammer news, and I'm always trying to squeeze in a little bit of Battletech in there. And Tom has little to no interest in Battletech, so this is my revenge. He's away, and we can talk about as much mechs as we like, because honestly, the Battletech universe seems like just as deep and just as fascinating as the Warhammer one, if not more so. I mean, I've only got like a really vague overview of Battletech lore, but it seems like, I don't know, best way to describe it, for me, is just like, it's like Game of Thrones in space, but instead of having knights on horses, they've got mech warriors piloting mechs. And it's all about grand houses and wars and politics and scheming and occasionally a kick-ass battle.
Yes.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. There are small nation states that I imagine have less history than Battletech.
Yeah.
Like
You start opening up some of the Sarna articles, things for Battletech's history,
Yeah.
and it's shocking how deep you can wind up.
Oh my god, so is it, I mean,
It's
Battletech's like
fascinating
an old
stuff.
game, right? It's been around since like the early 80s or late 70s?
Yeah,
I'm sure
40 years
Yes.
now.
Yeah, and it's not ever been like reset or like super retconned, right? It's just this continuous...
no. There has, there's been small changes, erratas, but by and large, it's the same game, and the lore is continuous from the beginning. Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, at this point in its history, it's generational in its lore. So we're talking characters that are great-great-grandchildren of some of the starter characters that we started covering in some of the books we began with.
Oh my god, that is crazy, because like I only know my like lore knowledge comes entirely from like sort of the middle of the timeline. Like I'm all about that like 3025 to 3050 kind of area. And I just completely lost track after that. Like they just carried on running it for hundreds of years, and who knows what's going on in that weird distant future as far as I'm concerned.
It's kind of insane that it's one single narrative continuity. It's kind of unique in that way. Like even, like I think, how many other things like intellectual properties that are primarily told through like fiction releases have been going for 40 years without any. There's no reboots.
Yeah, I mean,
Right,
Star
there's no
Wars is the only
reboots.
thing that comes close, but that had obviously a massive like cut where they were just like everything's nonsense and we're starting again.
Yeah. Even Star Wars had the sense to like, this has gotten a little out of hand, you know? it's really fascinating, even that it's kind of unique, and it's always under the radar. BattleTech is large. It's such a large body of work, but a lot of I ask normal people all the time. People ask me, "Oh, don't you do a show?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's about BattleTech." And I've regularly, almost always, they go, "What's that? Never heard of it."
Which is funny because it's currently, I think, the number 2 best best-selling tabletop game, but yet it is still kind of niche. If someone has heard of BattleTech, they've heard it's through likely Mech Warrior, or the Harebrained Schemes BattleTech game, which was was largely responsible for a big renaissance in the game space.
I remember like Mech Warrior 2 and 3 kind of almost hit mainstream gamers back in the day. Like,
Yes,
those were
exactly.
big games.
Almost.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is BattleTech always been right under the surface. Yeah.
Especially in the late 90s, early 2000s. And you're right, it got so close.
Yeah, like I was into it
the surface.
back then in the late 90s playing like Mech Warriors like 2 and 3, and like people nearly knew what that was back then.
Right.
And I guess because we've never had a TV show or a movie or anything like that to like really break out.
There was a TV show. There was a cartoon.
That didn't air in the UK. Like, we totally missed that.
Oh, it didn't. It is charming. It is not good, but it is a lot of fun, and I think it's beloved by the fans. It's also canon. It's in universe propaganda. Yeah, so it is.
Right, the kids grow up watching the BattleTech cartoon.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Funny. You know, I think it's really interesting that it was the same team that produced the X-Men show, the cartoon, the
oh my god,
right? It's the same team.
If only they'd got the music guys involved, that would have done it. That would have tipped it over the edge and got it out there.
Yeah. It does have a cool theme song.
It does.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
great
it goes
opener.
pretty hard.
Can we play it? I've seen clips of the BattleTech cartoon. I never like watched a whole episode just because I didn't even know it existed until I was like in my 30s.
Let's see.
Do we have the technology?
Yeah.
What's cool is it's all been uploaded to YouTube, the whole thing.
Does it? Surely it can't hold up. I refuse to believe it.
It doesn't. Just because it is super 80s, right? Like it's just beloved by the fans, but it is not good.
Yeah, it's kind of like how I feel about the old Transformers cartoon, right? Like, I loved that as a kid. And then I went back and I watched it with my son, like for a nostalgia trip. And I was just sat there going, oh my God, this is not as good as I remember. Like, not
One
at
of those
all.
where you start with like, I'm sorry, we made it through the first episode. We don't have to continue if you don't want to.
No, but he loved it. I mean, like, it's, I guess that's what it's aimed for, right? Like, he got super into it. And I was just like, I used to love this. It doesn't quite
Did he
hold
get to
up.
the movie?
The movie, the
like
movie's a different story. Like the
Unicron and
that totally held up. At least the first half. That was awesome.
All right, I have the opening here.
It's so sad when they killed. I heard kids were crying back in the day, like going to see the movie. They're like, they killed. Sorry, spoilers if you haven't seen the Transformers.
I feel like that's what Optimus Prime is most famous for at this point: is dying.
Yeah,
like if you didn't know that was his move, you don't know who he is.
He turns into a truck and he dies.
Here
we go. Brent's got something.
Is it going to pump my audio through?
Oh, I don't think your audio is going to come through though.
Yeah, that is the only downside, but you can at least see.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, man, they hit you with the map. You got to know. Wait, it's just like the Game of Thrones intro.
But you.
It is. They did a good job hitting some of the weird little details, though. Like, like when you watch it, there's little references that I thought this is pretty good. They thought about this.
It's jarring when it jumps between like 2D and 3D, though, isn't it?
Yes.
It's so weird.
And it was one of the first shows to feature like 3D animation as well. I believe it was written by Sam Lewis, which was one of the line developers at the time. I think he helped. He was like really involved. So it is like they squeeze a lot of lore stuff in. It's not as campy. I mean, it is campy, but it's not
Yeah.
as like unlore friendly as you would think.
Yeah, once you dig through all the various layers of camp, you will walk out with some knowledge of Battletech.
So most of what you learned will be vaguely accurate.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So what is it that does it for you? Like, what draws you into Battletech? What is it about the lore that you're just like, I need more of this?
Who wants to go first?
I'll get started with it since I'm the newest one to the lore. So on the show, we are covering the books, but I had never read them. I've been around Battletech most of my life through the Mech Warrior games. And then later on in adulthood, me and Brent played a lot of Battletech together. And I think for most people, I followed the path that is like you start with Mech Warrior games, you fall in love with them, then you find out that there's a tabletop game about it under a different name, and then you're super excited, you get way into it. So you fall in love with the mechs first. Then after, a decade of playing the tabletop, you guys started really getting into the books, and we're like, we're going to talk about these things. And so I started reading along with the show. So I don't read ahead. I'm exactly where we are on the episodes in the lore. But after we got through the first couple books, I was shocked to find how tight the stories are. How you go from one book to the next and everything's carrying over. Each series that we've started or a trilogy that we're going through is impacted by the events of a different story, but with a completely different flavor, completely different writing style. So the books we've covered, I feel like you can dive into it and there's a little bit of something for everyone so far, but it doesn't come off as campy or cheesy. They come off as very down to earth, grounded human stories.
Okay, I have to ask, how many books are there in the series? Because Tom and I often reference the infamous Horus Heresy book chart. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. It's a terrifying,
Dream, actually.
like, conspiracy wall of novels and short stories that interconnect with each other. And I can imagine after 40 years, there must be something similar for Battletech, right?
Battletech's more linear, somewhat. But there's kind of like a primary, like there's like a fair, like a spine, if you will. But then there's lots of stuff that jut off it. So it's not so much of a web as it is kind of a timeline. But as far as Kanan, do you know how many novels there are?
There are about 100.
About 100.
Yeah, there are so far. I think it's gotten a little over 100, and it's hard. It's because some things are novellas. There's a whole bunch of short story anthologies. There's a series of novellas. There's a regular. They have a magazine, like they call it a magazine, but quarterly they release a short story collection, 3 or 4 times a year.
That's something that's super unique to Battletech. I don't know another intellectual property that does this, but Battletech, through Shrapnel, which is that magazine, they pull in, writers from the community. Like, people submit short stories, and they become part of the Battletech canon. And it's actually how they get writers to continue on the legacy of Battletech. Right? It's kind of a on-ramp into it, which is I can't think of anything like it at all.
Oh, that's really cool. So it's like quite community driven.
Yes. Yeah, and I'd say that's a shocking level of the Battletech universe. Once you step foot into it, you start meeting people that are into it. The passion in this community is second to none. They are thrilled. They're excited that you want to talk Battletech with them, and then they love it. Like, this means so much to them, and that's been a highlight of the time we've spent in it.
It's kind of insane. Like, hundreds of people have written thousands of pages for 40 years now. It's like, why? Exactly what you said.
Because giant robots are cool. That's why.
Yeah. And it's not just the novels, it's the source books. They're always releasing the source books for the setting, for every era and everything. They're always putting out new source books, and they're full of stories and lore and stuff. It would take you so long to get through it all. Right.
But that's
it's
the
like
beauty of
practically
it.
unmanageable.
It's a well that goes as deep as you want it to. I mean, you said you've played quite a bit of BattleTech, but you haven't really interacted with the lore as much. I mean, that's totally that's not an unusual way to be into BattleTech.
Yeah. I mean, my own history with BattleTech is I don't know if you know this. A lot of the Yogs here at the Yogscast, they all met playing World of Warcraft. They went to university. They barely finished their degrees because they dedicated their lives to saving that mystical realm. While they were doing that, I was studying the mech. So I wasted my university years barely scraping through my degree, playing an online version of BattleTech like board game called Mech. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. It's like
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there was like a permanent, well, not permanent, it would reset occasionally, but there was like this ongoing global campaign where hundreds of people would log in and like join a house and like assemble their mechs. And every time you fought and lost or won, your mechs would get damaged. You have to pay to repair them. Your pilots would level up, all that kind of stuff. And I just got absolutely hooked. And I was playing like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 games a day on Mech, and then like going out, doing like barely doing my coursework, seeing my friends, and then coming back home the next day and just like blamming another 3 or 4 games. So I reckon, oh my god, I must have played over 1,000 games of tabletop. Not actually on a tabletop, but through that like online client. Because one of the things about tabletop BattleTech is it is pretty crunchy. There's a lot of bookkeeping, there's a lot of charts and tables.
Yes.
And the online version just did all of that for me. So you can play a game in like less than half the time, right? Like you can.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I would say a quarter of the time.
Yeah,
Especially if you're like teaching someone.
Yeah, me and Brent when we were playing, we had all the stuff. We were in the same house, living together, and we would bust open Mech just to get the games as fast as possible so we could play as much as possible in the evenings.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to go back. I've never actually, I don't know, apart from like showing a couple of people how to play, I've never played like a straight game of tabletop since playing on Mech. It's so hard to transition back to looking up charts and scratching off armor values and all the rest of it. It just completely replaced it for me.
It's cool. There's actually there's a new way to play now too, which is Alpha Strike, which is designed to kind of play like larger matches. So if you want to play it like a company or regimental, so if you want like instead of like 4 guys on the table, if you want to run like 12 or more, it's kind of designed to be more fast paced and to kind of have it like a zoomed out.
Pull some of the crunch out of it.
It pulls a little bit of the crunch out of it, and it's also streamlined for, you don't have to be on hexes, so you could play on like a Warhammer table or what have you.
You can use.
I've been meaning to try out Alpha Strike for a few years now. It looks pretty cool. I don't know anyone else who's into it. That's the trouble.
You don't have to manage the heat. Remember that after every turn, everything you do, you have to calculate how much heat.
I kind of love that mechanic though. Like I love redlining it, keeping it to 7 heat. Just keep them at 7 before you get into that next bracket of like the gunnery penalty.
Heat's still involved. Heat's absolutely still involved. It just assumes you're not overheating for like a regular shot, so you actually choose.
So you can just choose to like overheat your mech for a small buff rather than like getting down to the individual weapons you're firing.
But yeah, so that's a great way to if you want a quick game to play. And there's a whole bunch of formats. There's actually a tournament format that I love playing, which is AS350, which is tight little games, and it's a lot of fun. But yeah, the tabletop game can absolutely take a long time. So you said you were playing through this Mega Mech. What faction were you?
I had one of my like roommates was super into Draconis Combine, and he would join them every time.
Nice.
So usually I'd end up going with him. One season, because they usually maybe like every 6 to 8 months or something, they did like a reset. And so one season I convinced him to join the Periphery with me, to just live that pirate life for a bit.
go.
But oh my god, they had such a limited production and mech selection that after that season we were like, okay, no, never again. It's too grim.
It's hard out here.
Out on the edge.
Yeah.
But it was fun. Although you got that like reduced production and worse mech selection, you had a to represent the chance of like finding like an ancient Star League cache or like some buried treasure or something like that occasionally would happen out in the periphery. You had like this very slight increased chance of producing like rare Star League mechs. So like 90% of your production table was garbage, but you had like that 2% chance of like, oh my god, I've just found like an imp or a Marauder 2C, not 2C, the Marauder 2 or something like that. Which yeah, I don't know. It felt like you were buying lottery tickets playing in the periphery, just trying like fingers crossed I'm going to get one of those like cool Star League mechs. Of course, a couple of those cool Star League mechs are actually garbage, but you know, you get to wave it around and go, look, I've got this rare, I don't know, grasshopper that's actually worse than the regular grasshopper, but I've got it. So that's kind of cool.
That's an interesting thing about Battletech is there are mechs that are intentionally bad, right? Like it's kind of baked into the lore that, you know, these things are being pumped out, being sold to the lowest bidder, and so there's some units that are just bad, and they still get used because the mech in hand is better than the one you don't have, right?
Well, that's it. Yeah, you just use what you got, right? That's why I enjoy playing the campaign so much, because if you were just picking for up to a battle value, you're going to pick those like optimized hardcore designs, but being forced to work with what you've got and drag that Shadowhawk in because, well, everything else is in the shop and I've got to take that fourth mech, right? Another thing they did, though, they added in this extra mechanic that's not in the game called usefulness, where every time a mech was in a battle, the server would track it. And if a mech started to go below a certain win rate, like if just every time someone took that mech they lost, they would like adjust the battle value of that mech, either up or down, depending on how good it was. And it was cool, because like it wasn't perfect, because rare mechs didn't get adjusted enough, they weren't playing enough games. But the common mechs quickly found their point where like, oh, actually, you know, you take 100 BV off a Shadowhawk, then suddenly that's different. Like we can talk
now
about
it's the lineup.
yeah. Or like those hyper optimized mechs. Suddenly they're costing an extra 100 or 50 BV, and suddenly you're like, well, maybe they're not that good anymore. You know,
that's a really cool way of balancing that. I like that.
Yeah.
So we're kind of in it already, but so what's your favorite mech, Ben?
Oh, so many. That my favorite mechs are not always good mechs, I have to say. Like I've got like a real soft spot for an urban mech. It's just a dumb trash can, and who doesn't love the dumb trash can that's incredibly slow and has no armor? It's not even that good in a city environment, which is the only thing it's good at. It's just bad, and I love him. He's like R2-D2 on steroids, and he's a good boy. But other than like the meme mechs, like I love how the catapult looks. I think that's a cool design.
Yes. Iconic.
It's really cool, and it's pretty fun to play in tabletop too, because it's got the short range and the long range and the mobility, and it can overheat if it has to. I always like a mech that has the option to just go nuts and go over. Like those steady Eddie mechs, like a Banshee or a Shadowhawk, are boring because they can fire everything and just stay low heat. You know, I need something that can you know, pump it out when it needs to. So yeah, Catapult's definitely like top 3. I like an Axeman because he's got an axe.
It's hard to beat.
Yeah.
Again, not a great
incredibly
mech,
satisfying.
but occasionally when you hit someone with your axe and their head comes off, best feeling ever.
You're like, I can hang up my hat. I'm done. It's never going to get better than this.
Doesn't matter if I win or lose this game at this point. I chopped your head off with an axe. So.
Yes. It's very satisfying.
That's the Battletech experience. You hear that a lot, is that because it's so crunchy, as they say, because there are so many variables, you get all of these really cool emergent kind of like story moments like that. Oh, I cut his head off. I cut his arm off. He fell down the hill, right? Oh, he slid. He skidded and he rolled down the mountain and crashed into this guy. It does. It encourages all of these interesting interactions.
Absolutely. There's so much you can do in the game, and it's not always optimal, but like you say, it can create those stories where, like, you know what, your mech's overheating, it's crippled, and you just charge it into that guy and knock him off the back of a cliff or into a lake or something like that. And maybe you've already blown the armor off his legs or his torso, and when he falls into the lake, he gets like flooded and like shuts down half his mech. And it's so cool. It's so cinematic. Even if it does take 20 minutes of dice rolling to get from decision to result afterwards. Well, that's a cool story.
And how much you'll remember. I mean, there's games me and Brent played probably close to a decade ago that we still talk about and still remember how crazy they ended up. And after a while, as you're playing, it stops becoming about winning and losing. And it's about telling that story and having those memorable games.
Absolutely. And it's strange how much of it is like burned into my brain. I haven't played tabletop for maybe 15 years now. But I can still remember all the details, like of the iconic mechs. You know, I'll remember that like a Marauder has nothing but ammo in its right torso. So like, if you come up against a Marauder, you just hit that side as hard as you can, as repeat. As the moment you get a crit, that big heavy gun it's dead. You know, like the Hunchback, he's got like the weak back armor, and you just need to get in behind him and like light him up. Like, I don't know, these mechs have like a character to me now. Like what most of them do. You know, like you know, there's these mechs that run hot and these ones that run cold. There's these ones that are better at physicals. You know, like I'll always remember my friend had a Charger, which is like a fast assault mech. It's 80 tons, and it's kind of trash because to get an assault mech to be fast, you can't have anything else on that thing. It's not that tough. It's not got that many guns. But it's an 80-ton punching, charging, kicking machine that I'm kind of scared when I see it now because it's just going to run in and bully me around unless I shoot at it. But if I'm shooting at it, I'm not shooting his things that are actually good and are shooting me. You know, he's just like this big distraction boy, and if you ignore him, you're going to have a bad time, and if you don't ignore him, you're going to have a bad time.
Yep.
Brent, Brent has the Charger. Was that the Charger up you had there?
Oh, yes. I'll pull it back up for a second.
What does it have on its head?
It has a small laser.
Small laser.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That's his armament. He has 5 small lasers, one in his face.
Yep.
Like most light mechs have more guns than him.
Exactly. But it does what the name implies. It charges, and the charge attack from this is devastating.
Yeah, and he's going to throw hands every time.
Exactly. It's funny because it was marketed as a strange concept of can we use an assault mech, which is the heaviest of the mechs.
Mm-hmm.
Can we use one for reconnaissance? And the answer was no. But nonetheless, they were cheap enough that a lot of mercenary companies picked them up and would use them.
I imagine they went on sale at military surplus stores, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Hitting up the used mech lots. You find a Charger there every time.
Yeah.
Right next to the urban mech.
I do have a soft spot for all these terrible... I just realized now, every mech I've mentioned by name is just shit. Like, they're all the kind of mechs that, like, as a lance commander or something, you just be like, oh, please, can you send me anything else? Like, these are not the ones. How about you guys? What are some of your, like, favorite ones? Maybe some good ones.
Aaron, you want to...
It depends on who you ask. Just to keep up the trend of mechs that are good to me, but not to anyone else. My favorite is the Annihilator, which is the big brother to the urban mech. All guns, no speed. And so, something that is slightly faster than a wall-mounted turret. But it packs a punch, and you just roll high, and then it's really good. If you don't, you're going to have a bad time. Mm-hmm. But bring some big kaiju energy.
Kaiju energy is exactly...
He's amazing. My friend had one in the campaign we played, because that's like an early rare mech design, and there was only one on the server, and he had it. And I remember him like being really scared to bring it into battle every time because it's, I mean, like you say, it's a turret that crawls and dishes out a lot of fire. It's not that tough though, right? Like if someone's got like long range missiles, he's going to crawl towards them, firing his like medium range autocannons.
And Aaron, we've talked about it before with the Annihilator, where it's like, Aaron, you're like, you know what I'm doing. There's no trickery here. When I bring out the Annihilator, I'm walking him up the middle of the map, right? You know what I'm doing. He's lumbering towards you.
Yeah, and if there's any
And
terrain at all,
you need-
he's going to struggle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It is the joke that they can't turn around without running. So in one turn, you cannot do a 180 without hitting the run template.
Oh, it's a good pick, man. I love that guy.
I'm on the other end of the spectrum. My favorite mech is, I think, a good mech. It's the Marauder 2C.
Oh, yeah.
Marauder 2C.
But I'm also a Filthy Clanner, which is one of the they're kind of the space barbarian faction that show up, like you were saying, later in the timeline around 3050. But I just love this weird, like vole-looking thing. It was the first mech I ever used in Mech Warrior 2, which is how I got into Battletech. And
Because in Mech Warrior 2, you play as the clans.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened to Brent. He played that first, and that's why.
Oh, now he's just locked in
That's
clan
fine.
mode.
Yep.
That's right.
Awesome. Now, the clans are really cool. I love the concept. I mean, I guess for anyone who's watching who doesn't know, the idea being that back in the old days, the golden age of the Star League, when humanity was united under this perfect government, probably not, but so the story goes.
Perceived. Yeah.
Yeah, the guys who ran it, like, basically just bailed and let everyone else squabble over the ruins. And this like Star League defense force that just disappeared into like beyond the edge of space, never to be seen again, set up their own like warrior culture, and hundreds of years later, they come back super advanced with their own weird like honor system, and start to try and like reinvade and take over. It's like if all your myths and legends and heroes of yesteryear returned and just came back to kick your ass with much better technology and a weird, like, completely different culture.
Think like Vikings and/or like Klingons in Star Trek, right? Only they're still human, right? And they used to be part of this old government that no longer exists.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
Klingons is
in
a
the
good-
hundreds of years, they've made themselves so weird that they almost come off as alien.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that, because there basically are no aliens in Battletech, but the clans feel aliens, which is a really cool vibe. You don't get that a lot in sci-fi, that like these divergent cultures. But Klingons is a great example because they see themselves as hyper-honorable, but that honor is extremely flexible and up to interpretation, just like the Klingons.
Yes. Kanan, yeah, your favorite mech.
Oh, yes.
I already have it pulled up just because I
Favorite mechs. Okay. My favorite mech is the Trebuchet. No, I was trying to throw him off. It's the Raven.
The Raven.
Especially because, unlike Brent played Mech Warrior 2, I played Mech Commander, which famously features in the opening cinematic a Raven, like using the lance works together tactically to take down a much larger foe, the Smoke Jaguar Mad Cat, and the Raven delivers the killing blow. And ever since then, I was like, this thing's cool. It does electronic countermeasures, like it'll put it'll like block your comms and block your radar. It has this suite of like electronic warfare applications.
It can work as like a
Just a cool
spotter
little
and
mech.
stuff, right?
yes.
Yeah,
It,
cool
it also
spotter.
has Tag and Narc traditionally, which are
Tag and Narc.
Tag is just a laser designator, right? And then Narc is like a beacon that it's a little missile that it can shoot and attach to other mechs that will also allow for tracking. So that means that mech can go behind cover and indirect fire can still track it fairly easily.
Yeah, that was
If you
such
do
a
it
cool
right, it's
cinematic.
like yeah, I love all of the old intros for the games, like the full motion video are so cool. I love that they were like, let's get some actors in here, let's get them in some costumes, let's get some sets going. Like what a lost art.
I know,
Yes, a
right?
vibe that we don't see anymore.
Yeah, those 90s like full motion video cutscenes, like from like Red Alert and Command and Conquer and Mech Warrior, like
So good.
my god, like Yeah, that's all I want. I just want to watch like a TV show or a movie that looks as good as the Mech Commander 1 intro. Like that doesn't feel like much to ask, right?
Yes.
God, please.
Oh man, that's a great pick. I didn't get to use him so much because I would always play like the low-tech games, and the Raven just doesn't work unless you have all the fancy, like higher tech gear.
It's true.
I've been like, we would play the video game, right? Mech Warrior Online. It still works, guys. You know, I would get the Raven and I would sneak back behind the lines and shoot the tracking darts onto all the, like, they would be, the enemy team would be like behind the mountains or whatever. And you guys, like, you were like just kind of exchanging fire. And I would sneak up behind them because I have stealth. If you have stealth armor, it doesn't show up on the radar. And you hit them with the trackers and then you hold the laser on them. And then you're just like, bring them in, boys. And the LRMs just come like pouring in. I've seen it. I've devastated the entire enemy team with tracking lasers.
Oh my God, what a nut.
hanging out, hiding in the back.
Man, that is a great pick. It's so cool. It's funny, isn't it, how like just a story or a cutscene or a cool moment will solidify like a mech in your mind for the end of time.
Absolutely.
And that's something when you're into the books as well, that you get so many of those scenes from the novels that I could see shaping a love for a mech that's never going away. You know, even if you read it 40 years ago, it'll be something that you pick up and you're like, this is my favorite mech because of this one scene.
How much do the mechs play into the novels? Because I listened to like a couple of episodes of the podcast, and it was way more like, you know, sort of politics and intrigue and character driven. I mean, obviously I didn't go all the way through, so maybe there were some big battle scenes. I don't know, but like, what's like the because for comparison, right? Like a Warhammer novel, most of them pretty action heavy. They are just like excuses to show battles off, right? How does that compare with the Battletech books?
There's the fair share of battle, but I would say it's usually 1/3 of the novel is like battle stuff, and most of it is interstellar politics and or character work, right?
Yeah, a lot of setting up the context for a big battle that's going to happen. So you're watching the characters from different houses, from different angles for certain books, and then seeing this tension build up to the inevitable fight, and then going through maybe 4 or 5 chapters of just intense battle.
Nice. I mean, that's what you want. Like, if it's all battle all the time, it's hard to be invested in care in it better, right?
And
Yeah.
they go a long way to make sure that you're like you understand the stakes of what, you know, why this is happening, or you know, why it matters.
Yeah, it's
And
all
what the consequence will be of it.
Yeah, the battles can be big payoffs. There are cool battle scenes where once you've set up all the context for who these guys are and why they're here, and then there are scenes where it's like, oh, the final blow. He, you know, especially, you know, Wolves on the Border we just did, like the Battle of Misery and all that. It wouldn't be as interesting if you didn't have all the context. If you have the context, it's heartbreaking. It's a heartbreaking tragedy.
Yes.
But on its face, it's this dude shooting missiles and lasers at each other.
That's the biggest thing is even though they're kind of pulpy novels, they go really hard. And as far as genre goes, they're kind of all over the place. Like we just finished what is kind of like a traditional samurai tale. You know, of course, it's you know, in Battletech, so it's like a sci-fi samurai tale. But you know, it's very unique from what we had finished before that, which was kind of this 3-part political thriller. And so there's, just like Star Wars, there's a lot of room for a lot of different types of storytelling, and they use it. You know, there's like there's a few like detective stories and stuff that lead into large conspiracies, just to name a few.
Oh, that sounds ideal. I mean, just like going back to the Game of Thrones analogy, right? Like where you got to care about these characters before you care about, you know, if they live or die.
Yeah, and picking up the Warrior trilogy, one of the big early trilogies by Stackpole, it gives you that vibe. If you're looking for a Game of Thrones in space, big politics, big characters with lots of action. That one through 3 books kind of sets the stage of like, if you're wanting to get into Battletech lore, it's a perfect starting point for it to be able to like set a framework of being able to understand what's going on.
So which book is this? Sorry,
this is the Warrior Trilogy.
Warrior Trilogy. I'm googling it.
It's Warrior En Garde, Warrior Riposte, and Warrior Coupe by Michael A. Stackpole, which were, I think, some of the big tent pole. I think if a lot of people if they've read a Battletech novel, there's a good chance they've read one of those. They're
it's that or the Grey Death Legion trilogy.
Yeah,
because one of my questions was like, where do I start if I want to get into this? Because like I say, I know a rough overview of the politics and the settings and the factions, but never got into a novel.
They are designed that you can kind of just pick one up and roll with it. But if you're wanting to start at the beginning, honestly, starting at the Grey Death Legion trilogy is a great way to start, as well as the Warrior trilogy that we were just talking about. Those are kind of the entry point, but that's if you're wanting to go all the way from the beginning, right? Yeah. If you're trying to like get into like the newer stuff, there's a lot of other entry points like
So if let's say, for example, I don't care too much about knowing all the backstory and I'm happy to like just jump in at any point and I don't need to start at the beginning. What's just like a really good one? It doesn't have to be like a trilogy or a standalone or whatever. Like what's just like, oh man, this is so good. I just want to like, like carry on from here and find something else that's like it.
You know what's a good standalone Battletech novel? Illusions of Victory. I think Illusions of Victory is a good standalone because it takes place during the Civil War era. Aaron's read this one.
It was my first Battletech book. That before we started the show, about 5-6 years before we even talked about it, I had read it and then never picked up another one, even though I really enjoyed it.
It takes place on Solaris, which is a game world.
Yeah, that's like a giant coliseum, right? Where they gamble on like blood sports.
But because of it, all of the factions are kind of involved, which is another reason why I think I agree. Illusions of Victory is a good.
It's like a microcosm of like everything that's happening on the macro scale is happening on a micro scale, and you see it all in this book, and it's good. It's punchy, it's fun. That's Lauren Coleman, who's actually he's the guy. He's the CEO of Catalyst. Game Labs,
wow!
Who currently licenses the IP? He was the one who wrote the book. He's written a bunch of the books. I think they're all pretty good. He's pretty good writer.
That's amazing, because you don't think of a CEO as being actually knowing anything about or caring about like the lore of their product at all. You just assume they're going to be like a money guy.
We've had the pleasure of meeting with most of the Catalyst staff, and everyone is all. It's very unique, I think, for in tabletop gaming. Like top to bottom, everyone is like on board and is interested in the IP.
Yeah, most of them cut their teeth starting in Battletech and then came back and have joined the organization again to keep it rolling.
Oh man, I love that.
However, to your question, I think that you could, if someone wanted to, start with like the current era. I think that it is if they used, especially if they had the universe book or if they watched some primer videos or like some guides or something that could help them. I think that a new reader, if they wanted to be like, I just want to get in and catch up. I want to hang out with like the new stuff. I want to get in the mix. I think that you could start with like some of the later stuff. And I think you could have a really good time. I've thought about this a lot, and I think that it's absolutely possible for someone to like, oh, I'm going to pick up I haven't nailed it down. I've thought about this a lot. It's like, they shouldn't read Hour of the Wolf first. They shouldn't do that.
But like Bonfire of Worlds would be an all right starting point.
Yeah. Start in the late Dark Age and go forward, or even after, if you could run them up to be like, okay, get it, Clan Wolf is ill clan. You know what I mean? They could immediately jump into like reading the elements of treason and the Grey Death stuff and all of that, and just jump into the new era. And I think they could have a really good time. I think it's absolutely a completely legitimate way to enjoy the fiction.
It's
And I also
interesting,
think
like you
there's a
mentioned, like, the new
pathway.
era, because like I know so little about it, so you'll have to correct me if I get this wrong. But like, it's worth people knowing that like the setting was like pretty, I don't know, stagnant's not the right word, but it was a little samey for a while, right? Like it would be like the inner sphere, they're all fighting each other. The clans turn up, everything changes, they beat the clans, and then everything chills out for a bit, and then they start fighting each other again, and it was just this sort of on and off succession wars until at some point, when I wasn't paying attention, they just did like a real heavy reset, like did some galaxy changing events that shifted like the power dynamic and the politics completely, and so there's all basically when you're talking about BattleTech history, people often will talk about the new era and what happened before that, and they are two fairly distinct sort of eras. I don't know what the right word is. Am I right? Is what I said sort of vaguely right?
Yes. So there are multiple like eras in BattleTech, but I would agree that like when people are talking about it, it's either like pre or post Dark Age. The Dark Age being that big reset you were talking about, and
which is actually is a little background. It coincided with them changing hands. FASA, the original developers and owners of the IP, sold it to WizKids, wasn't it? They took it over, and they were still working with a lot of the writers and stuff who still are with BattleTech today. But they were like, we want a new thing. We want like a new era. So there was this in the early 2000s, this really big shakeup is what you're talking about. It's like the Dark Age, where the HPGs go down. We'll get into it.
Yeah, I know nothing about it. I remember looking into it because I used to play a lot of BattleTech in the 90s, and then I played Mega Mech, and then when I was like, oh, maybe I get back into this, and I looked at what was going on, I was like, the models are different, the lore is different, the names of everything's different, and the model, they don't even do them anymore. The new models are amazing, but the ones that were in this sort of in-between period were like, they were kind of like hero clicks or something was going on. Like they were really chunky and pre-painted. And I was just like...
There was a new game entirely, and it was weird. It wasn't bad, but it was weird, and it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way because it kind of... there was a time skip, and then... there was like kind of this world reset. All of it makes sense from a lore standpoint, but it was jarring, I think, to the fan base. And then the transition to that new game format kind of rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. But
does that still exist? Is it, no, because it's all back to classic now, as far as I can tell. Like the rules look familiar to me, and the models look familiar now.
Yes, and all of that stuff has been imported into Classic, right? So it's again no retcons.
It happened. It's part of the history.
Yeah,
and they're still fleshing out some of that.
It's like they had a gas leak
with some additional ones. Yes.
Yeah. But so you can so there those minis have been imported, so you can buy like some of those mech from that era. And play them in a classic game, and most people play, in different eras. So you wouldn't like, some people do mix eras, but it's fairly common to, for a game to be like, oh, we're going to set this in this era or that era. And then you can use these mechs from that era.
A lot of like mechs across era, right? Like usually the old mechs will have like modern versions, so you can use still those same old models in the newer eras, right?
Most of the mechs you're familiar with, Ben, are still in the latest era. They're still being pumped out because they're reliable, and these things last for 200-300 years, right? So even if someone has an older model, they get refit like all the time, right? Yeah. With the newer technology.
If you still had your old miniatures somewhere in your basement or something, you can still like use them.
Yeah.
To this day, like,
to be honest, those new ones look so good and are like not that expensive. So I would be very tempted to just restart my collection. Honestly, some of those old FASA minis are like, you look at the artwork and you look at the model and you're like, it's like standing in McDonald's, where you're holding up your squashed burger and you see this thing on the menu and you're like, that something's not right here. It's the same with those old 80s metal models, man. They just like do not quite hit the artwork.
Yeah. And I think that's something that we're seeing that huge blow up in Battletech again, with the fan base just growing every year, because there is this affordable way to get into a tabletop war game. You can go and pick up just one of the Lance boxes, which could be anywhere from $25-$30.
Yeah, and that's
show
it.
up to
That's
your
all you need
local
to
store
play.
with Battletech players. Yep, and you can play with that for years if you wanted to. You don't have to go in harder than you want to. However, I do find most people that get started, it's hard to stop. You end up owning everything twice, 3 times over.
Well, because it's not like you're
even
playing
the box
Warhammer where you
sets
got to
are
paint
great.
100 miniatures, right? Like it's
Yes,
so much.
right.
Like doing 4 guys at a time is a very manageable hobby task. You know.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And then you can go in and dedicate that time to the 12, 15 units that you're playing with and really get the paint jobs that you want to do without it being a whole separate part-time job to keep up with it.
And those minis can be used for both games, right? You can use it for both classic Battletech or Alpha Strike, with the newer game I was talking about earlier. And so you get a lot of use out of just 4 minis will go a long way. The starter set too, you can get it on sale for like $30-$40, and that comes with 8, which is enough for you and your buddies to
Yeah,
you
we
know.
played with it for years before expanding out.
Yeah. Well, then that saves you having to worry about terrain as well, right? Because you've got those hex maps in the box that will like keep you going for a long
Totally.
time. God, there's something satisfying about playing on hexes. I know terrain is amazing, and like, you know, if you've seen my channel Games Night, I always go to quite a lot of effort to make sure we've got some really nice terrain for that. But just something about a hex grid that just, it takes any guesswork or like clumsiness out of the game completely. You know, no one's like wondering like, "Hey, is that in the back or not? Like, am I in range or not?"
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
you know immediately, and it's so clear and defined that I need a way to merge like beautiful terrain with hexes. I don't know how to do that yet, but if we can.
There are a lot of solutions that are there for 3D hex stuff. Hextech is one company that makes a lot of great stuff in that regard. But also classic Battletech can be played hexless. You can play it. There's miniature rules for it. In fact, the miniature rules are available on the Battletech website, so you can use your whatever terrain you already have also.
Oh man, the
if you're
Hextech
so
stuff looks
inclined.
amazing. I had no idea.
Yes.
Yeah, and for a lot of people that don't have a lot of experience with wargaming, be able to pick something up that's pre-painted like that out of the box, get that kind of definition out of it to make a table really cool looking for not that much is awesome. I know we've picked up a couple pieces of it, and every time I pop it down, I'm like, this is incredible. This is exactly what I wanted when we first started playing, just being able to pop it on a hex grid and have a map that we're playing.
Yeah. Oh man, I had no idea. Like I'd seen some Battletech terrain before, like 10 years ago, and it was kind of ropey. But this is way better.
And there's a
even-
lot of. Go ahead, Kanan.
Well, I was going to say in the Alpha Strike box set that you can purchase, that's the one that comes with the little buildings and the trees and stuff, right? There's some basic 3D terrain in there that's cool. I love it. I have it like I think that the little buildings are really cool. You get a bunch of them. So if anyone is listening and they were like, "Oh, I want to pick up a box," I also recommend the Alpha Strike box because you right away you get a little city and some trees.
That's a very good point. The Game of Armor Combat box combined with the Alpha Strike box that's a really good value. You get a bunch of mechs. That'll last you. You could never buy anything else, and that would last you years of playing both Classic and Alpha Strike. And it's not very expensive.
Sorry to
I think
interrupt.
MSR
TJ, can you share
ahead.
my screen? I just wanted, while we're talking about this stuff, I think it's worth like showing it off on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just gonna like bring this up. Where are we at? So this was the Hextech stuff we were talking about, which is like pre-painted, assembled. Like you just put it straight out of the box onto the table, and man, it's come a long way from when I used to play. Like that's just great. And then this is what you guys were talking about, the Alpha Strike starter set, where you've got like the cardboard trees and the buildings and what looks like a clan star and 2 lances.
Exactly.
And so for these things that are sub $100 in their price point, you are getting a full game. It's not something where it's like, oh, this is kind of how you could get familiar with Battletech. You could buy it and run it. And, if that's something where it's like one friend picks up one box, another one picks up another, you are good to go. I mean, like I said, when we first got started, when that first box dropped, we bought it. We played it for years because there wasn't a lot else on the market going for it at the time. And there weren't very easy ways to pick up new stuff. So we had it and we didn't get tired of it. We just kept playing it, playing different games and different lances and having a great time.
Well, God, if you were to play with this Alpha Strike set, but with classic rules, that's a huge game. Yeah. 2 lances against a star. That's going to take you 6 hours. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's like playing 5,000 points of Warhammer.
Yes.
Wow, that's an absolute bargain.
It's a bargain. The box sets are good. I'm always telling people about these box sets. I think they did a good job.
And one of the upcoming ones that I find really exciting is they have a new box set called Aces coming out, which is a cooperative Battletech using AI card. So a deck-based decision-making for the enemy force.
I love co-op miniature gaming.
Did you ever play X-Wing?
Yes. Well, I played a lot of X-Wing, and we played on Games Night. Tom and I played the cooperative campaign, Heroes of the Atori Cluster. Is it sort of similar to that?
The guy who made that, the people, not the guy, the people that made that are the ones that made Aces for Battletech.
Oh, man. So, anyone watching who's watched the Games Night video where Tom and I play against the AI Empire, that's the same designers. That's awesome. Because they did such a good job with that X-Wing AI. It really felt like you weren't just playing against these enemies that ran at you. They played smartly and with surprisingly little bookkeeping. I was really impressed with that design.
I think,
and that comes with a bunch of mechs and some terrain.
Oh, this is why you're recommending it. I see now. Look at this guy snuck in there, the old Marauder 2C. Right.
But it does seem like one of those things that a lot of people that might not be familiar with tabletop wargaming, if you have a friend who is a little apprehensive about it, might think, all they know is some of the tournament stories and things like that you're going to come in and say, hey, let's play against each other. And then you're going to beat them up really bad. And it might not feel good. This
is
could
not
be
a great intro
for some of those people.
It's also, I was going to say, I have young children who are interested in playing. I have a 9-year-old, a 5-year-old play a little Battletech, but it's it's hard to play against them when I sit at the table. Ooh, let's play a game because I'm going to smoke them. Come on, I'm sorry.
Well, there is a quite high skill ceiling in Battletech, I find. In other war games, I feel like you can only get so good without just becoming quite pedantic. Whereas in Battletech, just knowing the numbers and the distances and the optimal positioning puts you so far ahead of someone who isn't familiar with those range bands and movement speeds and stuff like that. If you're playing against someone who doesn't know what they're doing, you're going to be hitting them on 5s and 6s on 2d6, and they're going to be hitting you on 9s and 10s on 2d6, consistently for the whole game.
Yeah.
So like you say, this is perfect for showing people who don't know how to play. And my first thought was, I could play this with my son.
Yeah, we could just have fun beating up on these.
What is it actually?
AI decks. It's so cool.
I guess the turrets are perfect for an AI because they don't have to think too hard for the turrets, right?
Yeah.
But what's the idea? Do you play with a couple of mechs each, or what's the
So that box isn't out yet, but from what we understand, it's everyone can play with a couple of mechs each. Alpha Strike's kind of designed for that. Where Classic's more, if you were playing a campaign, right, you're probably going to use if you got a bunch of your friends around the table and there's a DM, right, you're probably going to use one, maybe mechs. But in Alpha Strike, it's kind of designed for there being more. So I imagine that everyone gets a few mechs, but they have a whole campaign book that's with this box set.
Wow.
So it's kind of a through story.
Okay, cool. I mean, also, I have to ask, who is this fucking unit right here? Like, I don't know if you can see on my screen, but like it's just like the missile boat to end all missile boats. I need a name. I need an explanation.
That is the Kraken. I can't remember off the top of my head which version, because most mechs have numerous variants, but it's the Kraken.
Okay,
it is a clan mech, and it has a ridiculous amount of LRMs.
Yeah, what is that? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That can't be 8 LRM-15s, surely.
I can tell you here in just a second.
Surely
8 LRM-15s.
8 LRM-15s. Oh my god! So when I was talking earlier about one of my favorite mechs, the Catapult, that's got 2 LRM-15s.
Yeah. This is 4 catapults.
This is 4 catapults strapped together. That is insane. But that does make AI easier, I guess. You know, if you're designing AI, you want like very specialized units, right? This guy is going to hang back and shoot at you. Like, that's not a complicated program to think through.
It also comes with a great light mech.
Yeah, each mech is kind of assigned a type, so it's the way it plays, whether it's a skirmisher or a brawler, and that's how that determines it. So when you draw the card, it gives you the actions of the different types or roles of that mech, and then it follows that chain.
Okay, that makes sense. Oh man,
where it might say like for a skirmish mech might want to try to get into the best cover with the best shot, so that'll let you kind of determine where you're going to put that on the board. But a brawler, it might say like charge into the closest enemy that you can fight against. So a lot of different variants for it. We've seen a couple streams when they've been at conventions that they've showed it off, and it seems like it's a lot of fun. Something that we've just been so excited for. Yeah,
I mean, I've been wrecking my brain for a couple of months over like how to make a Games Night episode for Battletech. Because the trouble is, on Games Night, we're usually getting people in who haven't played the games before, and we're trying to deliver like a narrative experience, telling a fun story. Yeah. And Battletech is not really super conducive to that.
Yes,
but this opens up a lot of options.
And Brent, I believe that the first Asus box comes out in like November, end of November. It's pretty soon.
It'll
be out before the end of the year. Yeah.
Oh man, very cool.
Oh, there is one more thing I wanted to. Well, not one. I have several more things. But we were talking about book recommendations, and I realized I wanted to shout out the Universe book.
Oh, good.
Okay, they put this out about a year ago. This was an amazing. They did it. If someone is like doesn't know anything about Battletech, and they were like, I want to catch up. I just want a good book that'll tell me everything so I can get caught up and I can understand it. They put this out about a year ago. It's available digitally, physically. The Battletech Universe book. They did a great job making a book that runs you through all of the characters and the eras and the stories so far and what happened to who and how the maps changed and everything that happened, the different eras, the Dark Age. It goes into everything. It talks about this is they did such a good job. This is fairly new, and anyone listening, I really recommend the Battletech Universe book.
Man, it looks like
really impressed by it.
Like an encyclopedia. Like I used to have these for like Star Trek when I was a kid, you know, where you get like the cutaway diagrams and stuff.
Yeah, it's a textbook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are cutaway diagrams in it.
And it is something that it takes you from, if you knew nothing of Battletech, if you go from cover to cover, you will be caught up. You will understand the mechanics of it. You will understand the lore, the timeline, the players. It'll take you all the way through from start to finish.
Oh, you might not have all the nitty gritty, but you've got the macro story, right?
Oh my god, you guys are costing me money here. What the hell is this? I was like, I'll guest on a podcast. That's fine. And suddenly now I'm like $200 in the hole just getting these like box sets and books.
It is something that happens very naturally. As soon as I started the podcast, now it's like I've got Battletech stuff just in every closet, every storage space I got is covered.
But in Aaron's just out of frame, is just like Battletech stuff on either side of him. It's true.
Yeah, at most points in my house, I can reach out and grab a piece of Battletech product.
I have two things in my house. I unfortunately lost all my collection years ago. But I still have the anniversary starter set. Lewis and I played it because Lewis and I played the Harebrained Schemes video game. And so one year for Christmas, we did a live stream where I showed him how to play the main game itself, since he was like familiar with the video game. So I got this, and it's not a battle starter set, but oh no, it wasn't this one. It was older than this one. It had way jankier minis.
Yes.
Do you know the one I mean? It was maybe the 30th anniversary.
That was the one I think we had at one point, Brent. That was the one where we had the they didn't have the full hexes on the minis. They had the
little
hex.
hexes.
That's what we started with. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. It was this
that was
one.
When I played. Right?
Yeah, because you got two good minis. You got the Thor and the Thor and the Loki.
Yes. But
then all the Inner Sphere mechs were like kind of janky 80s, 90s guys.
Yeah, there we go. Now we're seeing some power stances.
Yeah. So I have this box, and I have.
They have redone all of those miniatures for listeners that are like, what are these? What are these Age of Sci-Fi monsters?
Yeah, they don't hold up great, I have to admit. But then this is like my pride and joy. It sits in my cabinet, like in my study.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a real monster. I'm kind of tempted to make 3 more and try and play Mega Hex Mech. But I've not been brave enough to yet.
I love that. The King Crab's up there is one of my favorite mechs. So
me and Aaron have we've played some Yard Mech before.
Oh yeah. Yeah, just way too big scale for what we were trying to do. Playing till 4 a.m. because we did not think of how long this would take.
So what was that? Did you have like some big scale minis?
No.
No. This was when Alpha Strike first was in beta, and we were like, we could play a giant battle.
So you just got
and
all the toys.
Play it anywhere.
Yeah, we pulled it out in the yard. We set up like a 30-foot area to play in.
Oh my
and we started
god!
at like 5 p.m. and it was a terrible idea. We did not think it through.
So you had like 2 hours of daylight.
Yeah.
Yep.
We had lights set up. It was a mess.
We lost mechs. There's still mechs in Aaron's old yard somewhere.
Yeah,
keep breaking lawnmower blades on them every now and again.
Yeah.
What is like the biggest game you've ever played then? Like, did you ever just get all the toys out for like a weekend mega battle?
I think that might have been it, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, that was something we were playing, 30 units on 30 units, 50 units on 50 units, something like that.
I don't know. Well, you know what? Now that I think of it, though, the doubles tournament we played for 350, we might have played with more units than we did that night. Because you would have had like 11 or 12 guys, and
but we were playing with army men and things to fill in. So it was we don't have any memory of it because of how late we stayed up and how poorly we planned it. But it is something that you do see games on so many different scales. Like if you go to the conventions, they have all kinds of games running that'll be anywhere from like lance on lance to armies on armies fighting each other that they'll carry through the whole convention playing. We got to play one this year where you played like one of the scenarios in a whole convention based game, and it was very cool.
Oh, I love that. I've always wanted to play enormous games, especially combined arms, because like a big giant robot is not a big giant robot unless there's tiny little men to stand on.
Yes.
So Ben, you'll like this. There's a new box set that came out recently with the last Kickstarter. It's the Mercenaries box set, and it's designed to work with Classic and Alpha Strike. But they not only does it have kind of a campaign system built in, it comes with combined arms stuff. It comes with some hovercraft that are troop transports and some tanks. But the biggest thing it does is it adds what's called the BSP support. So if you want to play with all of those combined arms stuff in Classic, but you don't want to increase the game time, because you can play them as is, right? And you can fill in all the pips and stuff for each.
Yeah,
tank,
it's just
but
like so for how many units you have on the board, it's a lot of paperwork, right? Like tracking infantry
Yes.
and vehicles, like hit points and criticals and stuff. It's that's why I never do it in real life. I've only ever done it online because it's a lot.
So if you want to use vehicles in classic, offline, this system it kind of archetypalizes each unit, and it kind of creates a card similar to Alpha Strike, and it allows them to be like, think of them as kind of like a minion. That's them right there.
Yeah, okay. So it just super streamlines the non-mechs so that you're not spending as much time on each tank as you are on each mech.
Yes, and
Precisely.
as something that it's like, oh, if I'm playing classic, but I have avoided vehicles or turrets and things like that because the rules are intimidating, which we've been there. We've done it many times, and it gives you kind of a stepping stone or just a way of like, even if you're super familiar with the rules and you're like, I just don't want to spend 8 hours playing it today. We're going to streamline this game, but we want to have all the vehicles, all the turrets, everything that we're used to having. This is a great way to throw it in.
Because you read the stories and it's like there's aerospace fighters, there's infantry. It's a key component of Battletech is the combined arms.
Because mechs are meant to be kind of like rare, right? Like, a mech battle is a big deal because it's a lot of hardware and cash smashing into each other. Most battles are like infantry and tanks because that's, expendable.
Exactly.
That's cool.
It changes per era, right? Sometimes mech become more proliferated until it all gets knocked back again. But yeah, mostly it is infantry and tanks doing most of the work. Sorry, Kanan.
No, I was going to say exactly that. That it's after reading a bunch of BattleTech, you realize that in this future, we focus on the mech warriors and the mechs because they're really cool, and there are a lot of them. But most of the war, most of the fighting is still done by dudes in boots, like marching with rifles and in tanks and trucks, right? That's still the primary mode of conflict. And then and now there's mechs as well.
And a squad of infantry with Inferno launcher can be devastating to a mech that's caught in the open because heat, living and die. You live and die by heat management in BattleTech, right? Everything you do,
like if your ammo explodes or you shut down from overheating, like that's game over for your mech warrior.
Yeah, you can get cooked. It runs hot.
Yeah, I always loved that. I had I remember in the Harebrained Schemes game, the Paradox game, like you could build these like fire starter builds with 12 flamethrowers on them and just get in there and like shut everything down.
Just be a menace.
Exactly. Like I'm not going to kill you, but you are not doing anything after like 2 rounds of this. Oh man. Cool. I didn't realize you guys were so into tabletop as well, because obviously, you focus on the lore and it's a book review podcast. Great to hear that you're big fans of tabletop too.
We're actually planning on expanding out and doing like actual played stuff. So those things are in the cards for us. But yeah, we're in it wholesale, I think.
Yeah,
it's just mechs all the way down.
Especially these guys. They know. Direct all your tabletop questions to Brent and Aaron. I'm very
Kanan
casual.
captures all the lore.
Yeah, that was my kind of bit. Is like my best friends are way into this BattleTech thing. Well, I like reading books. I'll just read all the books so I can talk to them about it. And that's how this whole thing happened in the first place.
So they actually sell a Hextech map. So I think it's there in that picture, and it's desert and green sided, but it's completely blank, so that you can use all of that different terrain, like those trees and stuff. And you can they have hills, right, that are the different heights, so you can set up all of that stuff.
Oh my god! All right, well, in 3 months you might be seeing a BattleTech episode on Games Night, just covered in this stuff. Yeah. If members willing, we might be able to make it sooner.
I also wanted to mention I was thinking about the universe book, and I was thinking about, I think this is important because generally in a tabletop game you have your faction, right? Everybody's got their faction. That's the thing, is that usually you build one army. You don't have BattleTech's kind of cool is that I feel like it's easier to go cross faction. I think because they're mechs, that they're products, that they're these machines that these manufacturers sell that, I think in a lot of other tabletop games, it's like this unit can only be used with this.
That's a
army,
really good point.
But
like only Space Marines can use Predator tanks or whatever in Warhammer. But you're right, like an Atlas, everyone uses the Atlas. You just paint it a different color.
Everyone uses it.
And
now there are faction, like there are things that are only produced by this faction and that faction, but through salvage, it's
all things
it's
are possible.
All things are possible. That's right. So,
that's a really good point. I don't know
I think
many other games do that. Like everyone, normally the first thing you have to do is pick a faction, but like I've never picked a faction in Battletech. Like that's never been a factor. I've just taken the mechs I like and not worried about it.
Yeah.
I think that's a common question with new people, especially coming from other games. Is like, how do I pick my faction? How do I build my faction? And so they've been putting out these force manuals, right, guys? Is it just these two now?
As of right now,
manual, Davian, Force. These are they have equivalents in like other communities,
the Codex,
right?
In Warhammer.
These are your faction books. Is it just these two? Have they done another one yet?
So Mercenaries and Clans is coming out very soon. But yeah, Force Manual, Karita and Davion, and they even go through like you can build your list. The thing is the thing that's unique about Battletech is you and your opponent decide what you're doing. So if you want to reenact in some way, it's built on the kind of classical wargaming style, right? Like of those guys that are playing with, those little 6mm minis that are reenacting like Napoleonic Wars. It's like a sci-fi version of that. So if you want to reenact a battle from Battletech history, there's plenty of source books and stuff out there that'll be like, here's we made that and we balanced it either correctly or to be, unbalanced correctly based off the lore to do. But, you get to decide, right? Between you and your opponent, you choose how you want to play. So if you want to invoke faction restrictions, there's actually a website, Master Unit List, which is official like through Catalyst, and you can pick a faction, pick an era, and
then it'll give you the restrictions on what was like available.
Yeah,
exactly.
This is what they have at that time.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is a great way. So if you click up in the era or faction, you can start wherever. So you can be like, like Draconis Combine down there, and then you click on one of those, and then it'll be like, okay, what era do you want to play in? And then it'll give you a list of those units
and what years they were like introduced to the faction and stuff.
Yeah,
exactly.
Oh my God, this
and
goes
even
so deep.
rarity. And so if you want to play like that, you can't. Now that it's not in any way mandatory, but it is a good way of balancing things so that
and it narrows the field, right? Because as a new player, you look at this and go, "What? There's 200 mechs I could pick? Like, holy shit!"
Right.
Yep.
And I only have to pick 4 of them.
Yeah.
So just focusing it down a bit.
And they're about to. It is. I will say, Master Unit List. It is an older page, but they're in the process of updating it, and it'll actually have. They'll actually have the record sheets, which are the what's required for actually filling for each mech. That's kind of like your character sheet in like D&D, if you will. But it already has the Alpha Strike cards, as you see there. So you can even build your force in this, and then when they add record sheets, then
just print it out.
You can just print it and go. So that's definitely a great way if you want to narrow the field so that everyone isn't like, oh, we're just gonna pick. You have this much battle value. Everyone just picks stuff, and everyone just picks the best mechs. Right. This is a way of kind of like narrowing it out and making it lore appropriate. Yeah, and then usually people are like. Good.
I was just going to say, I mean, you have to like meet your opponent where they're at. I find with BattleTech because like there's a BV system which is like a points value. It's not perfect. It'll give you like a rough idea of a balance. But there are certain things that the BV system, like I feel like personally, doesn't appropriately calculate. Like if you've got a gun on your mech, that gun's worth X BV, but it doesn't consider where you've put that gun. Or, you put a certain amount of armor on a mech, that's worth a certain amount of BV. It doesn't care, the BV system doesn't care where you've put that armor. So, like, some mechs have, like, less armor on the head. That's terrible design. That, if you've got slightly less armor on the head, that can just be blown off by, like, a PPC or an autocannon. But that's not reflected in the points value. So certain designs are just bad compared to other designs. If you want to get... Either you guys are going to talk to your opponent and be like, are we playing real hard and just trying to be the best? Or are we going to take some of these like not so good mechs because they were really there and that's how it goes,
Exactly. And so they're actually, this is actually kind of a big stir in Battletech, but they are updating BV here soon. I say soon, I want to say probably the next year or two, because what you said, it isn't. It's okay, but it's definitely not perfect, and so
it's better than balancing by tonnage. And
oh my god,
much better than that.
No, my poor Charger, he doesn't like that.
Yes,
no,
no, they like battle value.
Yeah, and this is kind of a new thing, right, guys? Like, this is breaking news. Kind of, they just released something the other day where it caused kind of an upheaval in the community. A lot of chatter about they're updating the battle value system.
Because this hasn't changed since the start, as far as I'm aware. There was a BV2, but I don't think that hung around for long.
So BV2 is the one that has you're mostly right. BV2 is the one that has lasted a while. The BV1 was very short.
Oh, okay, got that mixed up. I knew there was one that didn't hang around for long.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Well, getting back into factions, I don't want to keep Kanan out of this conversation. So, like, we were talking about factions. Like, what are your favorite factions, and why? What about? I mean, look how many there are. Oh my god, there's a lot. There's a lot of different groups.
There's even more than that. There's sub factions within these, right? It's truly like fractal Battletech. It is just you can zoom in or you can zoom out or in as. But you want to start with factions?
Not all these factions like exist at the same time either, do they? Like some of them like break apart.
Some don't make it. Yeah.
Or they're broken. Some are balkanized. Some reassemble from two other nation states and become another, faction. Or they're just annihilated altogether. Yeah.
But
so, Aaron,
primarily there are the 5 great houses, right? These are your 5 major factions.
Yeah.
Which is the Lyran Commonwealth, Free Worlds League, Draconis Combine, Federated Sons, and the Capellan Confederation. Right?
Those are the key players.
Yeah.
The key players.
For like hundreds of years, they're like the 5 great houses that are like vying for control.
Yes. There was a Terran hegemony, like near the center of the map, but in the Star League era, they collapsed, right? There was a civil war, there was a coup, they had the Star League, the war, like the Terran hegemony that was ruled by House Cameron, at its time was the most powerful of the interstellar nations. It was the center of culture and technology. It collapsed after the Ameris coup, and then the other 5 great houses kind of just moved in, took over their territory. So it's no longer there.
Yeah. So it's like the what are they called? Like the Targaryens. They used to be in charge of the whole thing.
Yes.
And then they collapsed. Yeah. And all the other great houses just carved off their little piece of the pie.
Yes. So
who you guys picking?
Man, what is my favorite faction? That's hard. You know what? I'm just going to say, I guess I got to ride with the dragon.
Yeah.
On this one.
They have the strongest theme, for sure. Like, everyone else is like, well, they're a bit like this, they're a bit like that. But the Draconis Combine, they are the samurai. That's what they are.
Yeah.
To both their success and failures, they are
very weird.
Samurai.
You know what's so funny? Actually, listen, so probably a lot of people don't know, they didn't start as Space Japan.
Really?
If you read the story, they were not so like Japan coded when they started. This was a initiative by one of their leaders at some point, like basically dodged a car bomb because he stopped to like look at some bamboo, and he was so inspired that he was like, "We're doing Space Japan now," and so he's like, "We're redoing it all. We're doing Bushido. We're doing the kimonos, the katanas, guys. We're doing the samurai thing."
We're
and
all
so they
weebs
turn it
now.
all around. This is yes,
By law.
It's
Imperial law
they're
demands.
not actually. Yes, they were just like, Japan is cool. We're gonna do Space Japan. Isn't that funny?
I'd always just assumed that, like, I don't know, like a Japanese colony ship had like set up somewhere, or like they'd inherited their culture. I didn't know they'd just like fucking
There is-
appropriated it.
Yeah,
The reason
and I think there was.
is because they just one day some guy was just like, we follow the code of Bushido now, and we're like pre-feudal Japan, pre-imperial Japan, right? That's just how we're gonna run our government now, and everyone
just ran with it.
everyone just ran with it.
Well, I'm sure some
Well,
that
like
didn't, and they
500
didn't
years
make it very long.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, it's kind of a theme that you'll see throughout their history.
Right.
So, Aaron, what about you? What's your favorite faction?
So I normally run with the Taurian Concordat, which is a periphery faction, but they've been there since the beginning.
Yeah, down the bottom.
Just kind of
Oh, actually,
doing their
you're
own
literally where
thing.
they are on my screen. You're covering them.
Yes, yeah,
Which is perfect.
I'm representing.
Yes, he is.
But in a
Um,
joke, they're space Texas. In reality, the more you dig into them, they're space Texas. So it is very funny. They were one of the houses, or well, one of the sections in space that the Star League with Kerensky goes to fight, and they hold him off for a
Right.
little bit, which causes some unintended consequences. But they were the ones that were like, "We're just not doing this. We're not taking part in your whole Star League thing." And ever since then, they've kept that same mentality of like, we're just not doing anything y'all are doing. We're going to do our own
Yes.
thing, and please just leave us alone.
The Lone Star
And
State.
That's a
nobody
good
will.
point. It's yes. When the Star League was formed, the periphery states did not join because they were like, "What? These guys do war crimes on us. We're supposed to be friends now?" No. So instead, over the course of like 20 years, they were invaded and coerced into joining the Star League by
Well,
the
they
SLDF. Right? They sent the
Yeah.
army.
Coerce them.
Yeah. Yeah, they just like it just spawned a war. That was a big thing, like the reunification war in the Star League era. The Concordat said no, and they were like,
Yeah.
"Well, we're gonna make you,"
But
and they didn't go easy.
Well, they
No.
they never went. The Concordat.
that's right.
Right.
point.
That's one of the reasons I think they are beloved, is that they held their ground, and eventually, the Terran hegemony and the SLDF basically had to go. Well,
Well,
I guess
well,
they're just going to be over there
and-
now.
and I'll say in the 3025 era, they boasted the highest literacy rate in the inner sphere. All right.
Oh, wow.
Shout outs to the Concordat. Yeah.
Hey, they needed to be able to read the new constructions for any
Good
man,
schools.
woman,
They
or
got-
child.
yeah, good schools.
I always forget that there's nukes
Um,
in Battletech. Like, are they banned or something? I can't remember. Like, they just don't get
Yes.
used so much, right?
Yes.
So
Frowned
the Ares
upon.
Convention bans them, but it's they're more like the Ares suggestions,
Right.
And
Because you're not meant to like
Yeah.
blow up any like like hard to replace tech. That's part of it, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's,
As
Now-
we were talking about earlier, when we were talking about how the clans came back with all this super advanced technology, they just had the old stuff that they left with. But after that, nukes were so heavily favored that they nuked themselves really dumb, and they forgot a lot of the science behind it. So they held on to what they could. They basically like, if we do any more, we can't travel space. So we got to put a pause on this.
it isn't even it isn't just like they didn't just lose scientists. Also, it's like industrial bases. They don't even know how to produce some things anymore. So like they drew the line. It's like, we can't lose interstellar travel because so many people die. So it's typically faux pas to attack a jump ship, which is the main facet of travel interstellarly.
Yeah. Same goes for like the things that let you communicate, like between planets.
HPGs, yes, hyperpulse
The
generators.
HPGs. Yeah.
Which are in the early part of history of BattleTech are kind of controlled by this weird tech cult.
Yeah.
Comstar.
Of space wizards, Comstar.
Comstar.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I guess Warhammer fans will recognize as not being too dissimilar to the Mechanicus.
Right.
Because they have like an almost like religious like reverence for old technology, and they like make
Yes.
all this infrastructure run in the background, and they control Earth, right?
Yes.
They control Earth.
Which is
the
actually not
phones.
super important at all in BattleTech. Like no one really gives a shit about Earth, as far as I can tell. It's not that important.
Well, the clans really do, because, which speaking of my favorite faction is Clan Novacat way up in here.
Oh, let's get a map. In a sphere 3050. Where are we at? So yeah, here we go.
So
So yeah, like we say, the clans come back and just take a big old bite out of the inner sphere, right?
Yes.
that's right. Specifically, so right before the clans show up, there's actually there's a state that's formed in between the Lyran Commonwealth and
Oh yeah,
Red
the ill-fated
Air.
Free Ruzzlehague Republic. Like they just moments
right.
after getting their independence. Like you got to feel bad for
Yeah.
these guys.
Spent hundreds of years fighting for
hundreds
it.
of years.
Couldn't wait. They get it, and they get like what 5-10 years before they're like, oh,
Yeah.
you're gone.
Which was actually its creation was helped by Comstar, and it creates like a buffer between these two states that are they're always kind of scrapping at each other. So each state kind of agrees to give up some of those worlds to this faction, so that it stops some fighting, so they can focus on the others.
Yeah, and then just
And then
chomp.
come in. Yep.
And that's about where we're at lore-wise in the podcast right now. So we are right before the era change for the first time. So
Oh, so you're just because it's like 3050 or 3049 when the clans invade, right?
Yes.
yeah.
And so is
Yes.
that where you're up to? Have they not quite come yet?
Not
Yeah,
quite.
we're still in the setup for it, but we are on the march towards that.
Oh man. So
Yeah,
what's
well, I think where we're at in the books, Rosselhog is obtaining like nationhood.
Oh, that feels
That's about
bad. You're
it.
reading these books and you're just like, oh, bless these guys. They're
Yeah.
trying so hard, but
Yeah.
I know where it's going.
Look at all the work they're doing. Yeah.
That's got to be heartbreaking. Do the books play it straight? Do they assume you don't know?
Yes,
Yes.
they do.
Yes.
For the first readers in like the early 90s, it would have been a huge surprise. Like they would have been like, "Whoa, what
Oh,
is going on?"
Yeah, because the clans were already a
Yeah.
thing when I discovered BattleTech. Like, so I always just
Yes.
assumed they'd always been there. But like, that would have been wild. I bet there was a lot of pushback, right? Because like, the only thing wargamers hate more than the things the way they are is new things.
Yes.
There's still people that will only play in 3025. And that's just how it
Well,
is.
God
But
bless them. It's the
Battlefield,
finest era there ever was, and who can blame them?
it's great, but that's the great thing about BattleTech is if you don't want to do with all that, there's so much you can do. Like playing in that early era, you'll never get tired of it.
So maybe for anyone listening,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, "What's up with these clans?" They don't know. Look. Check this out. Here's the deal with the clans.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, they had that coup, right? And General Kerensky, Alexander Kerensky was the general. He took the SLDF, the army, the Star League Defense Force. He fought back against the usurper, Stefan Amaris. He defeated Amaris, was captured and executed, and then General Kerensky, worried that his beloved SLDF would be consumed by the newly created power vacuum, convinced like over 80% of his forces to leave the inner sphere and found a new society beyond known space. I think in the timeline it's like the 2800s. It's something
far
like that.
before the first books that we get out.
Yeah. So they all leave. And then over the next 250, 300 years, the successor states batter each other in an endless, brutal conflict, leads to unimaginable loss of life, near total destruction of countless advanced technologies. The borders really don't change at all, which is kind of funny.
I love that he's
nuke
called
each other
Alexander
into oblivion.
Kerensky, because it just reeks of like the Alexander Successor Wars. Do you know what I mean? Like when Alexander the Great in real history dies, and his like all his main generals just start going for each other and carving off their pieces of the empire, but they all seem to go backwards in the real history. You know, like their armies are never as good as Alexander's were. And it's
Battletech pulls a lot from history. It's very much like Game of Thrones in that way.
It feels almost a little more historical than a sci-fi game at points, where you can take this and it feels real.
Yeah, I mean, it really, I don't know, something about it, the authenticity of like it, that feels so like believable that it's quite engaging. Did they know when they wrote that? Were they intending to bring the Star League Defense Force back at some point? Because obviously there was.
Yes,
they had some idea,
but they did. It wasn't at that time. It wasn't. They were the clans. They were like, we're doing something with them. In fact, Wolf's Dragoons was kind of their plant for that. Wolf's Dragoon is a very. It's probably the largest mercenary company in the Inner Sphere. And they turn out to spoilers. They turn out to be clanners that sent them for reconnaissance to see basically, well, what are they up to?
And learn their ways a bit and
Yeah.
scout it all out.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So check this out. The SLDF goes out into space. They get pretty far out there. They set up some functional colonies. Things go pretty well for a while. Unfortunately, right around the time a civil war breaks out, basically old resentments bubble to the surface. They start fighting each other. Unfortunately, around that same time, General Kerensky has a heart attack and dies, leaving command to his son Nicholas. So Nicholas gathers the forces closest to him and proposes, hey guys, how about a second exodus? So he gets all of his boys and he's like, let's go even further out.
We'll make Star League 3 with blackjack and hookers this time.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, we'll try it again. So they go further out and they start a new colony. Also, Nicholas has some really fun ideas about how to build a new, better society. Okay, here's the idea. We
Fun
build a
is
rigid
is
caste
certainly
system.
a word.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Check it out. Here's the pitch. Rigid caste system. Warriors positioned at the top. All disputes should be handled through trial by combat, right? You got a problem with your HOA, trial by combat, right?
Did this guy happen to be just like an absolute badass as well? Is that his whole deal?
No,
Like,
he's insane.
that's the funny part. Is he's the son of Alexander Kerensky, and he's kind of a weirdo.
oh,
Yeah,
so he's not just like,
he's
I'm the
definitely
best,
a few
so
cards-
do what I say because I'll beat you.
Yes.
You know, people follow him because he's his father's son, and because he kind of seizes control. He's a charismatic.
He's a bit of a
leader.
cult leader. They form a warrior cult out there. Like through trauma, they're all traumatized, and he's like, I know what I can lead us to the promised land. They're all like, I guess so. But yes, he's absolutely a few cards short of a full deck. Like, dude's kind of insane.
Does he start like the eugenics campaign, or is that like after him?
Yes.
Yes.
No,
that was
his.
He engineers
his
most
thing.
of the weird stuff.
Yeah. And he's like, okay, we create a rigid caste system, trial by combat, warriors at the top. I call it the clans. And there are literally 20 of them. There are 20 of them. I don't know why they're
not allowed
20.
They're not allowed to say contractions. That is a key part of.
Yeah, they can't
they
say
talk-
They have
can't
to.
or
They have
won't.
to talk like Shakespearean.
Yeah.
You dare refuse my patrol. And they also have their own lingo, which makes them seem very alien.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, they seem sort of vaguely autistic coded, because not only do they not
Yes.
use contractions, but they also, they verbalize rhetorical questions.
Yes.
Do you know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, there's a thing they put
Yes,
on the end of a
yes.
sentence to say, like, you know, just fucking agree with this. This isn't actually a question. I know it sounds like one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not.
Yeah,
Just say yes.
yeah, it's true.
Okay. So, and also, I don't know why there are 20 of them, and all of their logos look like they're like youth hockey teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got their
Very
own.
much
They've all got their mascot animals, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they all have. Yeah, they all have mascots.
Which
It's
are all
modern day
like.
AAA baseball teams now.
So it's interesting. All of the animals are these weird things. It's like ghost bear. You're like, what's a ghost bear? Well, they're all these, and all these places have been terraformed, and they either have in Battletech history is like hundreds of years. So some of these animals, have just evolved naturally in those terraformed environments to be different, or have been outright genetically engineered to be, weird and different, to better adapt to their environment, and they were released during terraforming. And so you won't be like, oh, you're not going to find like, oh, this is clan, mountain lion, right? It's all these xeno animals.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, most
They
of them are.
just-
You've got like
they
Smoke
cannot-
Jaguar and Ghost Bear and Jade Falcon, but then you've also just got Wolf.
Yeah.
Just regular ass
Yeah.
wolf.
Yeah.
I love
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah, why did they get just Wolf, right? And it is the punchiest name. They're just Clan Wolf.
And they're like
Yeah. And
everyone's
also, I
favorite.
think
They're
it's-
like the Ultramarines of the clans, right?
Yeah.
Like they're the main.
They are the Ultramarines of the clan. Yes, absolutely. And they get the same amount of hate that Ultramarines get.
for just being
and plot
like
armor.
the main guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're way out in deep space. He forms the clans. I always think that because all of the clan leaders are like his military advisors, all of the top generals and stuff that came with him. I always thought that like they know he's a little crazy. I always feel like there's backroom meetings where they're like, "It's working,"
Well,
you know.
there
And
are.
I guess
Yeah.
know, they're, hey, listen, is it insane? Sure, but it's working. We just kind of let's just
we're
roll
not
with it.
Killing each other too much. So
There's
it
a lot of
rolling.
clans that do kind of nod at each other, but then there's clan Wolverine and Widowmaker, and they kind of outright rebel, and bad things happen to them.
Man.
And clan Wolverine actually allegedly ends up back in the inner sphere. It's kind of one of the great mysteries of Battletech is like what happened to the remnants of Clan Wolverine. And there's little stories that people where groups show up and they're like, who are these guys? And fans are like, was that Clan Wolverine, or were those just some weird pirates?
The Minnesota tribe.
The Minnesota tribe.
And Wolverine.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to love a bit of mystery, right? It's like the two missing
Yeah.
Space Marine Primarchs. Like it's more fun to speculate about than it is to like
Yes.
know the answer, right? Like maybe they.
I'm sure we'll never get the answer, like exactly.
Oh yeah.
Because it is more fun to speculate.
Man, I can't find like a map of clan space. Is there not like an official?
Yeah, good luck.
There are.
I know but you're right. They're hard to. The clan space is kind of it's mysterious. Oh wait, I think is it the clan cluster?
Maybe.
No, that is the clan homeworlds, but that's way up. For the sake of the audience, we'll just say way north in that map.
Yeah.
Even though space,
Please.
obviously space is three-dimensional.
Yeah.
Please, Brent. It's core word.
It's core word, right? It's core word, but where you would normally find north, it is way up there. It takes literally a year to travel to this cluster from the inner sphere.
And how long would it take to go from like a planet to another planet in a different star system for like reference?
It depends.
One jump
but it's,
over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, like say an average, you got to take your drop ship up to the jump ship. So you got to get on a regular spaceship. That can take a week. Right? I think the average travel time is, at least for a short trip, it's still a few days.
Because it's
Sometimes
like
it takes
flying
more than a
out to
week.
like
You
Mars
lat-
from here, right? Like it's
Yeah.
if you're not using like
yeah,
faster
you
than
latch
light.
on
Yes.
exactly. The jump ship is waiting at a point where the gravity wells like equalize.
Oh,
right?
like
Either
a
near
Lagrange
their
point.
nuclear point.
Exactly
Yes.
like a Lagrange point.
Yes.
Battletech is I would call it light, hard sci-fi. It there's no
Soft hard
there-
sci-fi.
soft hard,
Yeah.
hard. Yeah. It's not
Semi-hard.
like it's semi-hard. It's not like Star Wars,
Non-Newtonian
though, where
sci-fi.
there's, like,
It's hard when you shake it.
when you-
So
That's pretty good.
So say that you're just one jump away. Say that you're just going one jump over. You latch onto the jump ship. If it's already charged, then they can just jump and it'll poof and they'll teleport to the next system over. Then you got to unlatch your drop ship and travel down to that planet, which can take a week or more. So even from just going one neighborhood over can take you 2 or 3 weeks. And if you have to make multiple jumps, the jump ship has to recharge, which can take, what's the average recharge time? It's like 12 days or something.
Yeah,
Something
it's like
that, yeah.
12 to 14 days. Yeah.
It depends. Depends on the
and there's-
star, right?
And there's things you can do to decrease that time, but you run the risk of having a misjump, which is real bad.
Oh god, what happens then?
It's kind of, are you familiar with like the conspiracy theory of like the Philadelphia experiment, the like ship that went missing
No.
and like teleported? So anyway, so forget that. Essentially you can have people fuse through hulls and or just like sent out into space. The ship, ship parts. It gets real Eldritch.
Okay.
So
are we talking like
Event
full-on
Horizon
Event
stuff.
Horizon, or just
Yes.
kind of like more mysterious than that?
Well, yeah, but people
Is
lose
there-
their minds. Yeah, exactly. Maybe
usually
not
just
quite
get all
as
mangled
demonic
up.
as the Event Horizon, but
They're they're fairly vague about exactly what happens in misjump. There are a couple depictions of a misjump scattered throughout. It's always horrifying. It is
Yeah.
always
I guess people just
Terrible,
don't risk
like
it unless they're
I'm-
desperate, right?
and that's if
Yes.
you don't just end up inside the star, right? Which is also very bad.
Wow.
so. The clans. He
Yeah.
forms the clans. It goes very well for a couple hundred years. It's working. It's working. Don't mess with it. So, Nicholas dies eventually, but they continue without him. They manage to build a functioning society with no contact with the inner sphere. They did it. However, during their time in isolation, 2 distinct political factions emerge. The Wardens believe the clan should be the protectors of the inner sphere, that their job is to protect them from themselves and to come back and be the Wardens and guide them. The Crusaders believe that the clan should return to the inner sphere and destroy the wicked imposters and restore the glorious Star League.
So the Crusaders want to like
2
just conquer
political
the inner sphere. But what do the Wardens
Right,
like?
yeah.
How do the
Just
Wardens
steamroll
imagine protecting it? They just want to like hang out, or like
Well, they want to bring them into clan society, right? They want to make them and they're like, we'll make them like us, and then we won't have to destroy them.
But like the scale is wildly different, right? Like there's like 20, 30 clan worlds, and there's like thousands of inner sphere
Yeah.
worlds, right?
Yeah.
Like the numbers are
exactly.
crazy.
Proposition. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
both
so-
sides don't really have all the information they need to make
Oh, that's
a
true. They've
great
been away for
plan.
300 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That being said, they haven't, because they've kind of gamified war. All of their industrial bases and science and tech, it continues on in spite of the same amount of fighting going on in the clan world. But
Yeah.
because the infrastructure isn't disrupted, their tech's able to get to like a much higher level. So when they come back, there's quite a disparity between like clan technology and as well as just having some of the old stuff, like Aaron was saying earlier, that's just better and can't be produced in the inner sphere. They've blown each other to hell.
It's kind of wild.
So when they
actually,
show up,
like, sorry. Oh, sorry, I was
No,
just
no,
going to say
you
like you say, the gamified war. Like one of the things I know about the clans is, in order to like minimize loss and destruction and to stop the same things happening to the clans that happen to the inner sphere, they do this weird like bidding game, right? Where they're like,
Yes.
we have a disagreement, we're going to settle it by fighting. I reckon
Yes.
I can do it with 10 mechs. And then someone else is like, I'll do it with
Right.
5, right? That's
Yeah.
how cool
Yes.
I am.
And
And then
Right.
they almost never do it in the population centers or anything. They, they do it Dragon Ball Z style. They go to the middle of the desert.
Yeah, and then someone else just comes in and goes, I'll just do it in single combat, just you and me, man. And then that way, the wars don't escalate at all. There's
Right.
never more. The battles are always real small in the middle of nowhere, and it's kind of crazy that they all just agree to that. No one flips the table and throws their toys out of the pram
It
and just
worked.
goes, fuck
Well,
you.
the clans agree to that. The Inner Sphere regularly does not, which does lead to escalation.
Yes.
There's some
It's-
There's some difference of opinions when they get
Yeah.
back together.
when the clans come back, they're like, minefields? We don't do minefields. And we're like,
That's
"Yeah, we
cheating."
do. Like, it's a war. What do you mean?
Yeah. The Inner Sphere is like, we just lied. We can do that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a
You-
fine
that's-
tactic.
and the clans are like, "How dare you? How dishonorable!"
Yeah.
And
You
they're
best
like,
start
"We're winning,
believing
though."
in minefields. You're in one. You know?
Oh, that's a good line.
So things come to a head though in the it's like the 3040s, like mid 3040s, right? Shortly before the invasion, the appearance of a deep space exploration vessel sent by the Inner Sphere just accidentally stumbles across the homeworlds. And so this event becomes the catalyst for the Crusaders to
Oh.
begin their invasion.
It
They're
forces their
"Oh, they're
hand,
coming for
right?
it."
Because they're like,
Yes.
Right.
we got to do
They're
something.
like, see? Yeah, we got to do something. There's a really cool depiction of this in the MechWarrior 5 clans. If anyone hasn't
Yeah.
checked out that video game, a lot of this stuff is covered, especially it starts there. It starts with the vessel appearing and them having their deliberations and the Ilkhan at the time being like, you see, they're coming for us. We have to go now. And so in 3049, the clans begin the invasion of the Inner Sphere. And their ultimate goal is the capture of Terra and the restoration of the Star League.
I mean, it's a bold move, man. The Inner Sphere is massive. I mean, I don't care how veteran
Yeah.
your mech warriors are and
Yeah.
how long range your lasers are. I mean, that's just a lot of worlds to get through.
That's the problem they
Exactly.
run into, and a lot of industrial base. And at first, they're tearing through them, and the is like divided and there's not like a unified effort, but that changes. And the Inner Sphere starts cooperating for a little bit, and
Of course, a common foe. Like nothing
Yeah.
unites better, right?
that's right.
Comstar gets buddy with them. If you read it's Comstar's immediate thing is like, we should be chill with them so we can learn more about them. And they start that's before they learn that they're coming for Terra, and then they're like, oh no. But at first they're like, maybe these guys could be cool, we could be friends. And then when they're like, we're coming for you, they're like, no, never mind.
Maybe we
So-
can get them to pay for a premium wireless bill here. So
Are the clans not on board with Comstar? Like, I would have
Yeah.
thought they could be friends. They feel like they have a lot in common, right?
Well, that's what originally they were like. Oh, okay, you guys are, because when the guy who started Comstar, he had good relations with Alexander Kerensky, and so when there was kind of a disagreement of how to about fixing the Inner Sphere. It's a whole thing, but
yeah,
the short of it is like they kind of like agreed to disagree, and then Alex Kerensky left, like we talked about. But Jerome Blake, who was the head
yes.
of head of Comstar, or he became the head of Comstar because he created it. He was like, I'm staying, and we're gonna try and fix it from the inside and kind of, manipulate the different successor states into not destroying each other. Obviously, they didn't really. It didn't happen. That didn't work. But when they came back together, they were like, "Oh, well, you guys are the SLDF. Let's try and begin our work together again." And it doesn't work out. It
doesn't work out. So, the clans sweep in, as depicted in Battletech Lethal Heritage by Michael A. Stackpole, this is probably the next Stackpole trilogy is about the clan invasion. This is an iconic. This is the Blood of Kerensky trilogy, right? Lethal Heritage, Lost Destiny. What's the second one?
I forget the third one.
Called?
I don't remember, but
it's hard. I got all these, lights and cameras.
I'll find it.
there's so many names.
As soon as I turn the cameras off, I remember everything. You know what I mean?
Heritage. That's the first one there.
I thought the wiki might tell me. The first, here we go, Blood of Kerensky trilogy. Lethal Heritage, Blood Legacy, Lost Destiny.
Blood Legacy. Yeah.
There it is.
These are great books. These are the clan invasion books.
Mm-hmm. Whose perspective from? Does it stick to one point of view, or does it jump around?
It jumps
Most
around.
Battletech books are third omniscient, right? They're third person omniscient. So it is kind of like Game of Thrones in that way. You get the perspective of a guy who gets yoked up by the clans and made a bondsman, which is just a funny way of being like, you're a warrior slave now, and you're gonna or else. And so it goes through his perspective, so you kind of get a insight into clan perspective and some other characters as well. This is also kind of this trilogy is like a sequel to the Warrior trilogy. So it kind of builds upon what that trilogy.
That's a good point. We get a whole new generation of heroes things, where a lot of the characters in this are the children of the previous generation.
That's really handy because when you're reading a new book with all new characters, sometimes it can be hard to keep the characters oh yeah, who's this guy? If it's jumping around a lot, where do they fit into the story? But just having that little hook of oh, they're the kid of this guy I already know, places them so much easier. Even if they're very different.
Creates a fun dynamic that I think helps Battletech stand out in its storytelling is a lot of these characters that we meet might have a great idea. They might be great people, but then when the next generation comes in, they might misunderstand it. They might intentionally change that perspective and take advantage of it. So it kind of keeps you from having terminal good guys all the time. Right. It's one guy might be leading someone down a great path, and then that faction takes a big swing as the next generation comes in.
Yeah, you get the new king takes over, and he's just a jerk, and for the next 10 years, that faction sucks.
Yep.
So it's everybody kind of gets their time in the sun in the shade.
That's cool.
Victor is he's a main character in the next generation. He's the son of Hans and Melissa, and
House Davion.
That's a big part of it. Yeah, Hans Davion. He's Victor Steiner Davion.
I know that name.
Which is he's
he's a big deal,
the good guy, right? You kind of pull for Victor, but in this sequence of books, and then there's more books that the story continues. He fumbles a lot. He makes a lot of mistakes. He makes a lot of bad decisions that lead to unintended consequences.
That's one of the things
you're just shaking your head.
I personally really like about Battletech is that the stories are very human, right? There's very rarely superheroes in Battletech. It's very grounded. Characters make mistakes, and it's interesting because you get to see how those mistakes ripple through the eras, right? The causality of it all.
Yeah, I mean that's what you want, right? If you're reading a novel, you want real people. You want flawed characters, not necessarily one-dimensional cartoon guys.
Yeah, that's something that's hooked me in as we've been covering these books and how we can sit. I mean, we are not the fast way to digest these books. Our coverage is 20-something hours a book.
I was about to say,
minimum.
I listened to an episode and I was like, this is going to take me longer than reading the book. I was enjoying it, but that was not what I was expecting.
Yeah. But we can have that level of discussion about these characters and events, and it's I still feel like we could go longer because we're just we're really evaluating it from every angle, and you can have those fun chats with your friends that you miss when you would get back to school and talk about the last night's Dragon Ball Z episode. But this one, like, even as adults, we're sitting here dissecting every part of it, and there's character flaws. There's these stories that you can just really feel the decision making and mistakes, and you can feel the heart in it.
Like, what was that character thinking? Do you think he intended to do this or that? Like, what do you like? There's so much, there's so much of a depth to BattleTech and its storytelling, and the writers are, I would say, don't get me wrong, there's some tougher books to get through, but I would say by and large the BattleTech authors are pretty good.
Okay, so here's a question for you guys, right? Let's say the head of HBO is just a massive BattleTech fan, and he wants to make a TV show, but doesn't know which story to start with, which characters to start with. Where would you pitch the general audience? Like, who would you have as like the main characters, and what like plot line or story would you adapt for like a big budget TV show?
This is a favorite of the BattleTech community. This is something I think for decades they have spent hoping for and talking about. So I think everybody has an answer for it, and they might be different.
Do you start with the clans because that's cool, or like do you do a season pre-clan invasion?
Right. I think you have. Yeah.
Right. That would be cool, but it's like, or do you go straight to? I think it'd be cool to do a season that's like Warrior Trilogy era. It doesn't have to be a 1-for-1 adaptation. You know, you can take some liberties, but do like the 30-25, do the Fourth Succession War, you know, lead up to the clan invasion, and then do the stinger at the very end of the season. You know, the clan jump ships come in. You know what I mean? That'd be cool.
I mean, it has way more impact like that, right? Like if you just get used to the setting and then, oh shit, everything's changed.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm of the mind of adapt the Warrior Trilogy first. That one, it reads like an HBO miniseries as you go through it. Lots of cool points.
I think you start with the Warrior Trilogy. Like you have like a season or two with the Warrior Trilogy. But I also think that you add in what's the third Grey Death book?
Price of Glory.
Price of Glory. I think you string Grayson's story through Warrior Trilogy.
Totally.
So that you get the Helm Memory Core bit in like the like that could be like a great season 1 or 2 or season 1 finale. And then
who would be, it's like your Ned Stark character. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be the main character of the whole thing, but he's like the focus of the first few episodes, like point of view character.
It's got to be. I feel like it's got to be Justin, right?
I was going to say you could do the Morgans.
You could do the Morgans. That's true. Morgan Kell.
That's true.
Yeah, of the Kellhounds Mercenary Company, which is.
That way you're starting independent. You have a group that isn't aligned politically directly. They've got a little bit of freedom to have their opinions and give you a walk on to how everybody else works.
Well, then these guys can, as a mercenary group, they can interact with all the different factions, right? Like they can have FaceTime with different people.
And they do.
They do. Though mostly they're Lyran back, but they work with the Fed Sons as well. But I would argue that first chunk of BattleTech history, it goes through kind of a Fed Sons lens, and I think that's the way to tell it as well.
So the Fed Sons there, that's when the Lyrans and the Davian like merge their empires, right?
They turn into the Federated Commonwealth, shortened to FedCom.
Yes. After they get married, Hans Davian marries the daughter of the Lyran Archon, Katrina. He marries Melissa, and this begins like a union between the two states, marrying the militaristic power of the Federated Sons with the economic powerhouse of the Lyran Commonwealth. And they form the federated Commonwealth.
I mean, that's just wild,
It's
right?
very-
Suddenly half the galaxy's under one family. Like,
Yes.
It's
That's
very
what they think,
disruptive.
too.
Yeah.
That's what, you know what, and that's also what all the other nations think. It's like, this
Yep.
is messed up, dude.
yeah,
And
let's
this-
all
this
kill
is
the
big
leader.
through plot line of the Warrior trilogy. So this is
Yeah.
as you're going through it, it's being set up. The event happens. Very impactful. One of my favorite points we've covered so far is when we get to the wedding. How that plays is incredible. That still holds up. It was still exciting to go through, even knowing about it. Very little before I got to read it, but
Oh my God,
I
it's
still
like
was
the
aware
opposite
it
of
and
a
still
red
was exciting.
wedding.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Yes. Well, it kind of
Well,
it's still red. He
yeah.
at the wedding he announces that his gift to his bride
Mm,
is the Capellan Confederation, that faction
the green one.
on the south there, the green one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And launches a war.
And the leader and the leader's family of the Capellan Confederation is at his wedding when this
Yeah.
happens.
Oh shit!
So
That's
yeah,
rude.
everybody's there. Yes.
It is quite the move.
They've all met on Terra. There's a wedding reception. They're all eating cake off plates, and Hans Davian is like, "By the way, I'm launching an invasion right now." And then everyone,
As
of
you
course,
sit
starts
here.
freaking out. Yes,
That is wild. Holy shit!
it's cool.
It's a
He's a fox.
very strong moment in BattleTech. Yeah, it's a peak. That's a season finale kind of deal
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh, dude, with Justin raising the glass and both
Yes.
of them like looking at each other from across the room, iconic.
Iconic.
Oh man. So who's
Um,
Justin?
So Justin
He's-
Allard. You go ahead, Kanan. You're gonna.
He's one of the main characters of the. In the Warrior trilogy. One of the main characters is Justin. He works for the Federated Sons. He's a major in the Federated Sons, but he is falsely accused of being a traitor, being a spy by one of the prince's like main rivals, right? And he's like, your guy's a spy actually. And so he gets kicked out. He gets exiled, and he goes to the game world and fights his way up the ranks of Solaris, eventually becoming champion, and then eventually goes to work for the Capellan Confederation.
Oh shit!
Well, he gets
It's
kidnapped
like
by
one of
them.
Is the
occupied
Yenlo Wang like his mech?
Yes.
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 It is his
Yes.
mech.
I didn't know
Yes,
that was like
yes.
a unique, like special guy's mech. I just thought that was like a
Yes,
Capellan
yeah.
variant of the Centurion.
No, it's Justin,
there-
and he
there is
passes it on to his son.
There's a
Oh,
variant
wow.
that's similar that has an AC-20 in the arm like that. But yeah, that is his and later his son's.
That is
Oh,
so what?
mech.
I didn't think I was going to know anything about this, but you guys keep mentioning stuff that like relates back to tabletop, which is just kind of blowing my mind. a bit.
It is a crazy thing that as you go through it, like I was like, I didn't touch any of the lore, and then as I'm reading the books, I'm like, oh, this is stuff that I'm aware of just from being around BattleTech.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like how much it permeates through is crazy.
Oh, he really sounds like he'd be a fan favorite character, like a guy who ends up getting like exiled
He
and then
is.
going and becoming like it's basically the story of Gladiator, kind of. If you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like he becomes
Yeah,
like
very much
an
so.
arena champion and then like wins fame and fortune and then comes back with like a vengeance.
Yeah, and he dedicates himself to vengeance against his former nation. But perhaps there are other factors at play that do not that are not revealed until, no spoilers.
Mm.
Yeah. No
Like,
spoilers.
what's this complicated situation? What's really going on here? Warrior trilogy.
Oh, okay. Are there like audio
yeah, and
books
you
available
also-
for these?
So
For the
this
Warrior
is
trilogy,
no. There
No.
needs to be very desperately. From
John.
from our understanding, it seems there's so many audiobooks for BattleTech, but somehow these have not come out yet. So sadly,
That's a shame.
there are not audiobooks for it. Is
It is. Because the
but
new
they are
wave
in the
of
works
audiobooks
from our understanding.
have been amazing. They're so much fun to go through. One of our first guests on the show was one of the premier audiobook voices and was fantastic. And he makes the Grey Death Legion so much fun to listen to.
Shout out to Trent Sparks.
Absolutely.
Also, for anyone listening, shout out to Trent Sparks, voice of BattleTech. Also, we have I was very proud of it. We do it after the Warrior trilogy. We did an interview with Michael Stackpole. And we talked to him for like 3 hours or something. It's a great interview.
Wow.
Very
Yeah.
long interview.
Yeah.
But we just talked to him about Warrior Trilogy, so one of his first published work, and he goes through and covers the whole thing with us, and it was so much fun. Great time.
Yeah.
Oh, that is awesome. Oh, it's quite an old one as well, right? Like it's from the 90s.
Yeah.
It is. Yes, it's from the 90s. Michael Stackpole, he wrote a bunch of Star Wars books. He's like a
Yes.
well-known like science fiction author.
I think most famously he wrote the X-Wing books.
The X-Wing books.
Wow.
Koran Horn. Yes.
Oh my
that's
God.
Corin
right.
Horn. Yeah.
What a legend. Oh, you wrote all the Rogue Squadron
yeah.
stuff?
Yeah.
Yes. He's a legend.
Yeah.
He's also just a cool guy. We love getting to see him at conventions pretty regularly. And he's still cooking. He's still shooting out Battletech.
He's doing like World of Warcraft stuff as well, and like other
Yep.
Totally.
tie-in
Yes.
novels.
A Dark
a
Souls
lot of
Soul
universal
Vol'jin.
ones. Yeah.
He wrote the Vol'jin book
Yeah.
that fleshes out Vol'jin. Yeah. He did a Dark Souls novel.
Oh man,
Yep.
I didn't even know there were Dark Souls novels. Oh my God, I love those games.
There's
Me
one.
neither.
He
One
wrote it.
Stackpole, yeah.
Oh man. We're
But
opening up
that was a very exciting one for us, where we got to sit down with him, and we've done a few short stories with authors as well, like Jason Hansa's Irreplaceable story. We covered that when we hit it in the timeline in the Warrior Trilogy, so that was a lot of fun. So shout out to Hansa. He's awesome writer, awesome guy.
Oh, that's awesome. How long have you guys been doing the podcast?
September of 23? 22?
Yes. No.
Yeah, I think
22.
we're on year 3, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Heading towards year 3.
Have you
So we are
extrapolated out
just about
like,
100 episodes.
how long? We'll get to the final era, but in the next 20 years. Like,
In the next 20 years, yeah.
Yes.
By our retirements,
so-
we will be caught up.
Now, we don't intend to
Yeah.
cover absolutely everything at the length we do, because, like you just implied, it's not an impossible task, but it'll be basically our life's work.
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, we're slowly, I think, especially for these early ones, because these are the foundational texts of Battletech.
Yes.
We want to do them justice. We are moving in very slow motion. We've said, guys, once we start getting into the kind of when it opens up, we should probably pick up the pace. We were always saying this. We never managed to make it happen.
Yeah, I think they get
But,
longer every time, but it is something that, because they are the first ones, all of its context, then there's no fluff that doesn't get picked back up or anything like that. Everything keeps rolling into the future of Battletech. So making sure that we cover it, we talk about it, is important. So when we get to it, when it comes back up again, or we meet the next generation of these characters, we understand them.
Oh, that makes sense.
Now, we will be talking about the new stuff and talking about other stuff. For the main show, the main feed, we're going to continue our march through the chronological order. But just for anyone listening, we're doing it. We're like shooting videos, we're writing scripts. We are going to talk about, we're going to break out of the box so that we can maybe talk like we're doing here, where we're just kind of like talking about the general lore and talking about the newer stuff. But yeah, right, and that main feed is we're just going through the story of Battletech, one book at a time.
Oh man, that is awesome.
Uh,
Can you guys like fill me in on the rough, like what the hell happens after the end of the Clan Wars? Can you give me like the Cliff
Yes,
Notes version?
I can.
Because I've heard
I
like
absolutely
hearsay.
can. It would be my pleasure. So,
Kanan's so excited.
so when the clans invade, all right. However, they are stalled momentarily while they're fighting above Rosselhog, right? A single like aerospace fighter, piloted by Tira Miraborg, right, in a Shylon, crashes into the deck. She suicides into the deck of the ship, just like the A-Wing and the Star Destroyer, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Where he
yeah.
hits and this kills the Ilkhan. So they have to take a break. like a year into the invasion, they're like, guys, we got to stop. We have to go elect a new Ilkhan. We got to go back. The leaders have to go back and hold an election. She killed the Ilkhan. So that halts the invasion for a year, which is interesting.
That's how invasions work, right? Like you just tell the other side, hang on a moment.
Time out. Time out.
Yeah.
We got
Clan Wolf is called their last time out.
That's what I love about the clans. They just they got their own way of doing things, and it's weird, and they just assume everyone else is going to respect that.
Yeah.
But
like
they don't.
Like the Inner was going to be like, okay, we'll be on hold till you guys get back. Don't worry.
Yeah, fair's fair. We didn't mean to kill your king of kings. You guys sort that out.
So there's like a year of peace, relative peace, and then the clans come back. They come back with a vengeance. Actually, they launch an attack on the capital of the Draconis Combine. This is in the second Stagpole book in the clan trilogy. They attack Luthien. They're actually thrown back by a coalition force, including multiple mercenary units, all working together. So then a guy has an idea. All right. In early 3052, the clans, they're pushing deeper into the inner sphere. Comstar Precentor Anastasius Vogt, leader of the Com Guards, that's Comstar's military arm, he realizes he has an idea. Okay, the clans are they're beholden to this very rigid set of rules. Maybe we can kind of use this against them. Maybe that's their Achilles heel. So he challenges the clans to a trial of possession. He says, okay, guys, here's the idea. I have a planet, Tukayid. All right, we are going to hold a battle. Everyone can come. All the clans can come. And the idea is we're going to see who wins. And if we win, if the Com Guards win, then you guys cannot, you can have what you've already taken, but you cannot continue invading for 15 years. And if the clans win, you just get Terra. We'll just give it to you. Okay?
Wow.
How about that? It's like the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah,
it's like
all or nothing.
Final ultimate confrontation. He challenges the clans to a trial of possession. So the clans, now led by Ulrich Kerensky, he's the new Ilkhan, and he was the Khan of Clan Wolf. Cool character.
Yeah.
Yes. All 7 invading clans participate, and they lose. The clans lose horribly. Some of them not as bad as the others because of that specific thing where, like, it's so funny. They show up and they're like these hidebound, honorable warriors, and it's just nonstop minefields, artillery, gun emplacements, dudes coming out of the ground. They've built fake. There's a whole scene like there's this books about the Jade Falcons where they just try to cross the river. There's several chapters where they're just trying to get across this river. They've blown all the bridges. They finally get across the river. It's like not fun, right? It's like a slog.
Right.
The clans, they just beat them down over, like, it takes weeks, this battle, and they're not used to this level of warfare. It's hilarious, though. I love the bits where, like, they're like, oh, that's the town we need to capture. And they show up, it's like a small urban area, and, like, the clans roll in, and they're like, oh, this is weird, there's no one here. Then all the buildings collapse, and, like, Comstar mechs start coming out of the ground
King
and stuff,
crabs
like,
and demolisher tanks with, like, big old AC-20s strapped, on them. Just come, like, out of the woodwork and ambush them.
Oh man, chat's calling it Space Vietnam. Sounds brutal.
And they just grind the clans down until almost all of them lose. One of them is declared, who's a draw? I think like Jade Falcon gets a draw. Clan Diamond Shark, their entire warrior cast is eliminated by the end of this. They're done. Like, literally, they're
which leads them to become almost this mercantile clan. Which it's interesting. It changes the history of
all the
Clan
businessmen
Diamond
are
Shark.
like, all right, we got the warriors out of the way. We can make some money,
We got
right?
I always imagined the meeting. Imagine the meeting after Tukey had Clan Diamond Shark, right? They're all, yes, the head of the merchant caste is there, the scientist caste, the civilian caste, the laborer caste, and they're all like sitting there. It's like, where are the warriors at? It's like, they're gone, dude. And they're like,
Oh shit!
It's
If
just-
they're not here in
no.
15 minutes, we're legally allowed to take control. That's what it is.
That's right.
I feel like when they hear, everyone just gets kind of a smile on their face, just like, y'all trying to make some money? You know, this warrior thing was cool, but like,
These
we can
spheroids,
sell these
we
mechs.
could probably offload these clan mechs on
Yeah.
them, right? Like they'd probably like that a lot, and they did.
Oh man! So that just like locks the borders for 15 years, and then everyone starts like
yes,
being a bit chill.
locks the borders. So then,
Chill isn't quite the right word because clanners are always fighting. So the clanners start fighting each other, of course.
Of course.
they do.
And I guess all the
do.
Crusaders are like weakened from their years of crusading.
Yes.
So then the Inner Sphere has an idea. Let's send a message. Let's annihilate a clan. So Smoke Jaguar used like nuclear weapons, or at least they used like bombardment, right? They
Oh
during
yeah, they
their
did a war
invasion,
crime on like
they were-
Port Arthur or
Yes.
Turtle Bay or something.
Turtle Bay.
Yep.
Bay.
Turtle Bay.
Turtle Bay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Good pull on Port Arthur.
I see it's
Deep cut.
their reputation precedes that.
Yeah. That was the setting for Mech Commander.
That was
So
Also-
they're like, check it out.
Yeah, Mech
Yeah.
Commander was fucking classic. Actually, I'm just gonna bring up some pictures of that. I
Commander
wonder how it holds up.
rules.
I haven't played it for years.
It's still pretty good. It's still hard.
good. Yeah.
in that sweet spot. Mech Commander 1 because it's 2D.
Oh
like
yeah.
with the
So
sprites.
the sprites kind of still hold up because it's not like dated
Yeah.
90s 3D.
Yep.
Yeah. So the Inner Sphere tries some stuff. They're like, we have Operation Bulldog, which is where we're going to build a coalition force. Everyone comes together. Thing is, the threat of the clan invasion makes everyone temporarily set aside their differences, and they're like, we got to deal with these guys. And so they're like, check it out. You know what we're going to do? We're just going to kill Smoke Jaguar because they're the worst ones. They use nuclear weapons. They did a war crime. Let's just take them out. So they Operation
They load
Bulldog
up all like
pushes
the
them.
best tech and the best mech warriors from each like great house all over the Inner Sphere, and they make a coalition.
Yeah, and they push them out slowly, planet by. This is where Mech Commander takes place during Operation Bulldog. You take back Port Arthur because they're going planet by planet, pushing them back out of the Inner Sphere. At the same time, they have intel because of a clan traitor about where the homeworlds are. They know the path through the stars. They can get back to the homeworld. So they send a secret task force Serpent, to cut through uncharted space and attack the Jaguars directly on their homeworld.
Which is
they
Mech Warrior
do.
3, if you've played Mech Warrior 3.
Oh, I have. I never understood the setting of Mech Warrior 3.
Yeah.
I only knew I must kill. I was just like dropped in my battle mech and shot everything that had a red box around it. I had no idea what that was all about.
Good job. You did it. You annihilated Smoke Jaguar. So they're like, cool. And this does send a message. Now their clans are like, oh, these guys are serious. Like they straight up annihilate the clan. Smoke Jaguar is done.
Wow, what like just like the warrior
all
cast, or like literally the women and the children too? Like, I mean,
Oh,
did they go
no,
full
just
Anakin
warrior
Skywalker?
Yeah.
No.
No, but what happens
The
is
other
after the
casts
warriors are
are
gone, the
absorbed.
clan they just get absorbed by the other clans, right? The other clans show up and just like absorb everyone
Goliath
else.
Scorpion in this case, which has a knack for antiques, is what I would say.
Yeah.
You know,
Antique.
it's there's got to be a way of better extrapolating that.
Yeah,
they
they love
Just
vintage
relics.
tech.
love
artifacts.
vintage tech. Yeah.
Yeah. So also it's
Curators.
Victor Steiner Davian goes with them. He's part of Bulldog. They eventually meet up. They actually fight a trial on the clan capital world, Stranamekti. They fight a big trial and they win. This is all, and there's this saga. Near the end of the clan invasion era, there's like Twilight of the Clans. It's 8 books and it's all about this. And it ends with they defeat Smoke Jaguar. They come back to the Inner Sphere. When Victor returns, he finds that some stuff has gone on in his absence. That there's
Particularly his
political
sister.
turmoil. His sister has been put in charge of the Lyran half of the Federated Commonwealth, and she is moving against him.
So now
First,
we're getting
like-
into Mech Warrior 4.
Yes.
The second time out to go wrong.
So does that like split
Yes.
up the Federated Commonwealth? So they go back to.
Correct.
They fight a civil war. There's another like 15 novels or something
my
that are
God.
just about this Civil War era where they end up due to political differences and the Davianist sentiment and the the Steiners, and it's all a lot of like news reports and stuff. Catherine's leaking reports that Victor's weird and he sucks, and then
Posturing.
and
And military buildups on borders. Like lots
it's
of
very
like,
Cold War.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where you get a lot of like information warfare and stuff. That's where you get those Stackpole like spy novels, kind of there's the whole Civil War thing. This is where like we talk about illusions of victory. This is when illusions of victory takes place. This whole Civil War, eventually they split and they kind of fight a war against each other. And Victor wins. Basically, the Victor and his coalition forces that he builds around him recapture New Avalon.
He's like an
and they
Eisenhower,
arrest-
right? He's like a war hero. He just beat the space Nazis.
Right.
With like a massive
but
like,
he's-
alliance of all nations.
But he's not a very good politician.
Yeah. It's a little
He's a
awkward.
great he's a great he's a great military tactician, okay strategist, but like very mediocre politician, and
All
it
right.
gets him. He's I would call he's idealistic, right? So you're rooting for the guy, like he wants to do the right thing. He's a true believer.
He sounds a bit like your Ned Stark kind of guy, right? Like he's doing the right thing, but he just gets outplayed at every turn because he's not playing the right game.
Well, it also
Yeah, that's
doesn't help
exactly.
that his dad was fantastic at the whole package. So
right.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
his dad was really good at all this.
SPR in
So,
the entire sphere.
yeah.
He's the
You know,
goat.
he was doing
Fuck.
he was doing all
Yeah.
the bad things everyone was doing, but he did it like in a way that everyone patted him on the back for it. You
Oh
know?
man.
Yeah. He was the one that started the war at a wedding, and people thought it
Yeah.
was really cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So you got to follow that up. You beat the Nazis, and then, but you still can't get any respect.
Yeah.
Sounds like Victor gets a
Battletech-
real rough ride.
Battletech does point out the importance of marketing. Right? If you're going
Right.
to fight a war, you need a good PR campaign.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
essential.
It's not what you do; it's what people think you did.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yes. So we have the Civil War era. You know, the Federated Commonwealth splits back into the Federated Sons and the Lyran Commonwealth again. So no more sphere-spanning superpower. Victor actually takes a slot with the Comm Guards. He becomes the Precentor Marshal. He doesn't even take his throne again. His brother takes the throne, and then it gets murky. Okay, because then FASA sells the IP to WizKids at this point, at the end of the Civil War, and they're like, okay, we got to shake it up. So there's kind of a time skip. There's kind of an era where a bunch of stuff happens, but there isn't 10, 15, 20 novels. There's
Well, we
actually
do-
like one.
And we also don't entirely know what happens, because what happens is we only know about from snippets, because there's kind of this apocalypse
Well, yeah.
caused by Go ahead.
I was just gonna say this is exactly where my knowledge completely ends. Like at the end of
Cool.
this era, like when they sold the license, I just completely lost track. But I've heard about like just a massive time jump and big changing events. So like, yeah, fill me in. This is what I need to know.
So-
Comstar,
happens.
remember Comstar?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
Comstar kind of broke apart during basically post Tukaya, that big fight where they stalled the clans, and it split apart to secular Comstar, which is those were the people that were like not pretending that the rituals were actually for all this tech stuff. They were more like, you know, we know this is a guise to try and you know, the intersphere nations. And then there was the people that drank the Kool-Aid, which were are known as the Blakist, and they kind of get the boot, and they end up going into Merrick space, and they become what's known as the Blake. And
Word of Blake.
I would actually say Word of Blake is very one tech priest mentality in Warhammer 40K, even to the point of like they're removing parts of their body with like cybernetics. They're like all in on.
Oh, you cut out there.
They're all in on
Comstar got 'em.
transhumanism, right? Like
they just like worship the machine and want to ascend.
They're zealots, right? Yeah, Word of Blake. They call it Word of Blake because I did mention this earlier.
Yeah, he was like the founding member of Comstar, right?
Yeah, I think Brent said something about it. Yeah, Jerome Blake was the guy who founded Comstar, and he left all these writings and stuff. And so they believe there's a splinter faction who's like, they've gotten away from the heart of what we're about, right? That like a Blake's word and his like visions and his prophecies. So we're going to carry on the true vision over here. And they build an army during the Civil War era. They take Terra. They do. That's like their first move is they take Terra, and they're like, this is going to be our thing now. We're like Word of Blake, and they build a large army. This all happens like, this is during the Gray period. This is like this is all part of the storytelling leading up to the Dark Age, to the Clickscan stuff.
Even during Civil War, they're building up their army, right? So like as like there's this big Civil War going on, the Word of Blake is kind of in the shadows, like lurking and building up forces and finding like strategic hideaways. So they end up launching like a crazy religious war. This era is called the Blakist Jihad, right? The Blakist Holy War, the Blakist era, right? They launch a holy war and they employ nuclear weapons. It's crazy. They like genocide whole planets. They go nuts, right? They become like this unstoppable, sinister force where they're just waging this crusade against the rest of humanity. This is in the 30s, 70s, 80s, right? Wow. And eventually, okay, you're like, someone's got to stop these guys. Someone's got to do something about the Word of Blake. This is getting out of hand. A hero emerges. Devlin Stone. Okay, this mysterious figure emerges from this Word of Blake prison camp on Kittery. And he forms a coalition. He goes around and he gets people and he brings them to his side. He gets Victor on his side and all these other people. And he's like, I'm going to form a coalition against the Word of Blake. I'm going to fight back. And he does it. Okay, they build an army. They make a counterattack. They take back Terra. Devlin Stone's coalition defeats the Word of Blake. And then afterwards, Devlin Stone decides, let's form a new nation, kind of like the old Terran hegemony, the like around the center of the map, right? They actually he makes after the war. There's all these concessions and these meetings and treaty signings and stuff, and he's like, I want to build a new nation. I'm going to carve out the center of the map there. We're kind of going to remake the old Terran hegemony again, and we're going to call it the Republic of the Sphere. Okay, and this is going to usher in a new era for the Inner Sphere. He even institutes some like policies about you. If say you have a battle mech, right? Because they want to demilitarize. They want to de-escalate. There's been a lot of escalation going on lately. And maybe we can kind of turn some of that down a little bit. So it's like you can turn in your battle mech. Or like Grandpappy's mech, right? They're generational. They get passed down. Or they're owned by like the family, and then bring them to like serve in the military.
Yeah, it's kind of like being handed down like your father's Valyrian steel blade when you come of age, kind of thing, right? Like,
exactly.
Like they're all like noble knights and whatnot. Well, no, I guess not all of them. Some of them are just like military recruits, right? But these mechs are like super valuable.
Yeah.
Yes.
So no one wants to give them up, right? And so Stone, go ahead. I was just trying to feed you, Kanan.
Yeah, he has policy. This is a part of the early Republic lore. And there's no novels for this part. You kind of got to piece this all together through the source books. I've been through them all. Historical Wars of the Republic, right? Dark Age era digest, Dark Age. Okay, Era Report 3045. I've read them. I've tried my best to piece this together from the information I have. So is like the Mechs and the Plowshares program. Turn in your mech and get a land holding, right? We'll give you a bunch of money. We'll give you some land, some property. Let's get some of these mechs off the streets.
Right, like
also,
an amnesty.
Yeah. He has a relocation project because the area around, he has the center, like Prefecture X, or is it the one that Terra's actually in? And then there's prefectures. He actually takes like planets from all of the great houses. They voluntarily sign over. Some of them are very upset about this and have not forgotten to this day that they lost those planets. I'm looking at you.
But the Republic keeps, they're getting all these mechs, so they have more guns than the other guys now, so they're able to kind of bully the successor states a little bit. And they have the clout because, hey, I saved you all from Word of Blake. All right? The least you could do is hand over some planets. So they form the prefecture system, which is like there's zones. There's like different prefectures around. This becomes the Republic of the Sphere. Each prefecture is led by a prefect, like kind of like a regional governor. There's also the relocation project, a deeply unpopular policy decision he makes where he pays people to try to mix up the nationalities. He's like, let's try to mix people around so that we kind of create like a Republican culture and not just like nationalities in each prefecture. So he like pays families and stuff to relocate to other worlds. Pretty unpopular. I was reading about this when it came around for like a re-up, when there was another vote, it got shot down. It was not a pop. His relocation thing, but he tried it. He relocated some people. He tries his best to form this utopia. He's trying to we got to get this thing back on track. He forms the prefectures.
Feeling like this is leading to someone kicking off and it all going to hell pretty soon, right? Who's gonna start shooting first?
That's the secret of Battletech. It's always kicking off.
Ben knows a good build-up though when he sees it. It seems. Yes, this is leading to a pretty big explosive, a powder keg.
Also, it's the Capellans.
Yeah,
still mad. They.
Always is.
They're just like, I'm gonna get these worlds back. The whole time they're just like, I'm gonna get them back. You just wait, I'm coming, and they do. So something. Well, okay. First, I want to talk about the Republic because at the head is the Exarch. Devlin Stone is the first Exarch. I like this though. I think this is kind of cool. He forms a council of paladins. 18 paladins, 17 publicly known. The 18th one is the hidden ghost paladin. Who is he? Read Scorpion Jar by Jason M. Hardy. He has a council of paladins. The paladins are kind of like the judges from Judge Dredd, right? They have like extra judicial power. They can go around and make their own decisions. And in the Dark Age novels, it's cool. You get some stuff with the paladins. Under them are the knights. There's like a legion of knights, which are like elevated warriors who achieve knighthood. The knights and the knights errant. He has this whole round table paladin knight kind of system going on, which is kind of cool. I kind of like it.
Yeah, he adds a little extra feudalism to our feudalistic sci-fi.
They were like, what if we democratized feudalism? And it's
this is now maybe I'm getting a little nitty gritty here, but he also has the nobles who used to run everything. He does kind of make them mad because he basically they don't run stuff anymore, right? Used to be whoever the noble house was on this planet, he was the lord of the planet. It was his planet. He got to tell people what to do. That's not true anymore. The Republic makes the rules. So he puts them into a Senate, though. He says, you guys are allowed to have a Senate of nobility that you can vote on stuff and whatnot, but you're no longer have direct control. They don't like this. Okay? Also, in Scorpion Jar by Jason M. Hardy, you learn that there's eventually a rebellion. The Senate rebels. They get forces together and they're like, we're tired of this. We're rich. Like, what is this? Why should we be listening to people who aren't rich when we're rich? So like there's actually a little war there where the Senate rebels against them. So Devlin Stone, crucial, like he sets up the Republic, sets all this up, then he disappears. Devlin Stone just one day is just like disappears.
Well, my job here's done.
Right. Yeah. I will return when you need me most.
Yes, literally.
He just goes up to King Arthur's himself.
And so And so his boy, Damian Redburn, grandson of Andy Redburn, shout outs to our boy, he becomes the next Exarch. And then after him, they elect this guy, Jonah Levin. He's the Exarch after him. That happens in Scorpion Jar. So
That is not a heroic name. I'm guessing he is like not the leader you wanted.
He's cool. Levin, he tries his best. He didn't even want the job.
Oh, he tries his best. Yeah. Okay.
He tries his best. It doesn't work out. You're right. It doesn't work out. But okay.
Can I just
before John?
Sorry to derail you, but I need to know what the hell the clans are doing through all of this, because I feel like we've just done 50 years and they've just been sucking their thumbs.
Take a guess.
Oh, they've all fighting each other.
Yeah, you got it.
You got it. Oh, this is the Wars of Reaving, right? Brent, back in the home world, the clans have a little war against themselves back on the home worlds, and a bunch of them get like annihilated.
So explicitly, this is mostly between like homeworld and so a lot of the invading clans have basically they've immigrated mostly to the inner sphere, but some of them still have their holdings. Not all of them ghost-spared completely up and left, but some of the factions still have the worlds back in the homeworld. Well, the homeworld clans that didn't invade, which there was 20 of them only in the first wave of the invasion. 8, correct me if I'm wrong, Kanan, that come in like reserve. Steel Viper, Nova Cat, Diamond Shark, and I'm missing one, but you get the idea. So the homeworld clans, they're kind of like, well, you guys no Ravens, thank you. You guys are out there. We're just gonna take your stuff here because you guys have become weird, and just like any society that kind of like there's two cultures kind of touching. The Inner Sphere clans are starting to adapt to Inner Sphere life. They're becoming less zealotous, and are becoming more integrated Sphere life to some degree. They're still weird.
Some of them even start using contractions, which is completely inappropriate. Can't be forgiven.
The Ghost Bear Dominion.
Yep.
Yes. They completely integrate with Rosselhaig. So Rosselhaig does, to some extent, survive. And Clan Ghost Bear actually integrates. And it turns out that they're... Rosselhaig, which we did not talk about, is... they're kind of all of Scandinavian descent. And there's actually, like... They kind of get... They kind of get grouped as, like, space Vikings. And it's not entirely inaccurate. And... so the Clan Ghost Bear shows up, and they're like, we have more similarities than we do differences. And Ghost Bear was actually one of the less rigid clans, so they actually kind of eventually merge. But the homeworld clans don't like this. They're like, whatever's going on there, this it gives us the ick.
They're corrupted.
And
the clans are like kind of racist, right? Like they're not the chillest.
Yes. They are not very chill. Well, that's the biggest problem. Is they're like those ones are becoming chill, and we don't like.
Yeah, they're becoming chill.
That is not allowed.
That's right. And so they kick them out, basically. But in the process of kicking them out, all of those other clans and some of those homeworld clans get destroyed in that process. That's about as much as I think I could shorten that up.
Oh, fair enough. No, it's good to know. Like, so they're not really getting involved in all the Word of Blake stuff in this new like Republic. They're just doing their own, like integrating, I guess.
So funny enough, Clan Nova Cat actually switches sides when so back in the Clan Invasion, which is my favorite faction. Back in the Clan Invasion, they actually when the Inner Sphere decides to make a second Star League. Clan Nova Cat kind of looks and goes, "Wait, you guys are making a that was the whole point.
That's what this was all about."
That's
like our whole thing too.
And the other clanners, and they're like, "Well, wait, are we the baddies?" And they switch sides. And so the Nova Cats actually do help in the extermination of
They do.
The word Blake.
And Smoke Jaguar. They participate in the
in the two operations to destroy Smoke Jaguar, and they also portions of Clan Novacat also integrate into to catch us back up where Kanan left off.
They kind of now they're in the Combine. The Combines actually put them on like a reservation. They've given them like some worlds to Iris prefectures. Yeah, they that's where the Novacats are at this time. I meant to. So Devlin Stone disappears. Damian Redburn becomes the Dagzark I believe it's August 7th, 3132. I might be wrong about that. I think I'm close. The phones go out. There's an HPG blackout. This is important. This is the reason it's called the Dark Age. Because no longer can they communicate interplanetarily, or like interstellar communications are cut. For the most part, over 80% of the HPGs go down.
It's also why we don't really know what happens here historically, right? Aside from like obviously out of lore, right? The reality of what happened, like the Dark Age is caused by this, so information is very hard to get, and even the source books are written in such a way that it's all written by like news articles, and some of them are like in opposition to each other as far as stories go, right?
Like
so like
unreliable narrators at that point, like
exactly. But the impact of this would be imagining if we lost all cell towers and internet in today's society, where we've got all this built upon it, and then all of a sudden we cannot talk to each other anymore.
What if no one could call each other? You know what happened? Warlords, right? That's what happened.
Well, you can't run an empire spanning half the galaxy if you can't communicate, right? So it all just breaks down into like small places where you can send messengers.
It doesn't help that the Word of Blake also nukes a whole bunch of infrastructure. They have all of these terrorist attacks throughout the Inner Sphere at key places that also just like brutally destroys infrastructure. And sometimes entire planets, if memory serves me correctly.
They do a number on they especially in the poor Concordat gets they were sympathizers. Rover Shrapland, never mind. We can
but so the Dark Age is quite a literal one.
Wow.
And there are some HPGs that are unaffected by whatever's going on. It means it's not a mystery now, but for the sake of kind of the true fair story we're weaving here, I won't quite spoil it just yet, but nobody knows what has caused the HPGs that weren't just blown up outright to not be operated. And there's a few that remain, but they're
Northwind, crucially,
Northwind
is still functional. Anyway, so
are we getting into
the
like this
phones
blackout era now?
Yes, the blackout era, the Dark Age. That's why it's called the Dark Age. The first Dark Age novel. Finally, the novels pick back up. There's the end of the Civil War. There's literally Endgame. It's called Endgame. It's called Battletech Endgame.
Okay, we better buzz through this because the studio's telling me we've got like 3 minutes before they have to shut us down. Sorry.
Kanan, can we do it in 3 minutes?
Yes. So basically, after the phones go down, everyone starts taking their own piece. No one can talk to each other. So like all of the factions start like taking back their old planets and stuff. War breaks out again. The whole Dark Age era, the Senate Rebellion, the Jade Falcons get crazy. They start taking planets. The Wolves relocate they form the Wolf Empire. The clans start moving again. The Jade Falcons and the Wolves start going against each other, and they're now like building up their forces. This crazy woman, Malvina Hazen, takes control, fights a war against the Jade Falcon Con. She takes control of the Jade Falcon. She's insane. She's a giant genocidal psychopath.
Yeah. Not what you want.
They
more so than most, right?
the Draconis Combine launches an invasion of Federated Suns and captures New Avalon, the capital planet.
Oh my god.
And then the Wolves and the Falcons race each other towards Terra. They get through I didn't even talk about the fortress wall. But basically they get to Terra and they both attack Terra in this climactic confrontation where they basically defeat the Republic, and then they fight each other in a giant battle. The Wolves win, and so Clan Wolf is declared Ill Clan, and Alaric Ward is declared the Ill Khan.
Which moves us into the current era of Battletech, which is the Ilkhan era.
I don't know that we explained the reason the clanners want Terra is because remember Nicholas, the son of Alexander, the weirdo that kind of created the clans. He basically gave a carrot to his weird cult and was like, hey, the first clan to make it to Terra, you get to be the clan of clans, basically.
Number one clan.
So does that mean all the other clans are now rallied behind him as a single, unified?
Well,
in theory.
In theory, right, of course.
Which is part of the new era, but that basically puts us square into the new era. I think is becoming my favorite of the eras, believe it or not, because there's a lot of stuff going on.
And we're also in a great build-up. Like, you can feel some big things are coming. We don't know what they are yet, but there's ripples in the water.
Man, well, I love it. I mean, it looks like the Inner Sphere is just in a mess. If they figured out, have they got some of the communications back, or is that still all down?
We just got a new book recently. We covered it on the show, where they have just started to solve the communication issue.
Wow, so it's really So I guess this is a good time to get into the current lore, because it's just had a reset effectively, and it's not a real reset, but it's like a new starting off point, right? Where
exactly,
you don't actually need to know all that much backstory because it's a brand new cast.
Yeah, if you were to pick up the Universe book and then start reading the Ilkhan era books, you would have most of that background with being able to pick up and start without the 40 years of novels, manuals, everything else that you would need to feel like you had caught up. The Universe book will get you there.
Oh man, that's awesome. I love a reset that doesn't just wipe everything out. All that stuff still happened and is there, but also new people can start.
Yeah.
Yes. That's awesome. Well, unfortunately, we have to wrap it up because our studio guys are walking out the door, and I don't know how to turn this equipment off without them. So I'm really sorry to cut you off there, but time is up. But thank you so much, guys. You have been awesome. It's been amazing nerding out with a big passion of mine for a long time. I fucking love Battletech, and it's great hearing you guys passionately speak about something I love. And if you haven't already, check out the Of Mechs and Men podcast. There's links in the chat. You guys are on basically every platform I could find except for YouTube Music, which was the first one I tried, which is annoying. So if you could also post there, that would make me personally happy. But also, you're on Spotify, you're on Audible, you're on iTunes, all the other platforms. So, if you're interested in Battletech, or you just want to hear some guys passionately discussing some books they're into, follow those podcasts. It's very cool. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Thank you for joining us. It's been great. We have really enjoyed. We're some of the new guys on the block for joining the network, but it has been amazing. Being able just to even do the stream week here has been an awesome start of branching out into the network. So thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it, and thank you for all of you that have joined us, have been listening along to the show. We love y'all. We can't wait to hear more about it, and looking forward to what we got coming next.
Awesome. Well, I would love to catch up with you again sometimes. If you guys ever wanted to do have another guest for a one-off podcast, give me a shout. It'd be great to catch up with you again.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally. Anytime.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for tomorrow when there's more great Pickaxe podcasts being shown off. So check the schedule, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Until next time.